Welcome to episode 264. My name is Tim. I'm here with Kyle, and I'm here with the real Dan, not this fake Dan that showed up last week.
We had
Showed up.
doppelganger
Get him
Dan
out of
here.
here. Get him out
Yeah,
of here.
yeah. Of course, we
But also,
love
thank you,
Dan
Dan.
Phillips, and he's
Also,
awesome.
thank you,
And
Dan. Yeah,
and he's
so thank-
now that I'm thinking about it, he actually plays new games. Let's get him back in here. Actually, could we do that? Could
yeah,
we get...
right.
Listen, I'm like diddling.
He
a
was
new
excited
game, right?
to play new games too. You know,
That's right. He took days off of work to play this new game. So
he's further ahead in Assassin's Creed than all of us. So
I think
Wow.
he definitely has to be.
He's
Yeah,
a
he
real
would have to
pro,
be.
actually.
Yeah, yeah. So glad to be back. We are actually recording a little earlier than usual, and so we might keep this one a little bit shorter. But thank you guys for tuning in to watch and to listen. And we mainly want to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows, although there are a few other games and a couple of headlines I think are interesting for us to chat about together before we wrap things up. So let's dive right in with the thing that I think most of us care about, and that's this thing. I'll turn it down a
I
little bit. Is
actually
it too
hate
loud?
samurais and ninjas.
Actually,
Samurais
can't
and
hear
ninjas are the worst. I was gonna say,
Oh,
can't
can you hear?
Yeah,
Oh,
can
I have the sound turned off. Hang on. Only I can hear it. 1 second.
But yeah, like.
Tell
I
me if
just-
you can hear
ninjas,
it
samurais
now.
is the worst.
yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I can.
someone's chatty.
I can hear this terrible game.
Yeah.
But you know
So
what?
bad.
For the sake of us talking about it, just so you guys can hear, this is a review from SkillUp. I'm gonna go ahead and just turn that back off, just so we can chat about this
Sure.
while it's on in the background.
Thanks,
So
skill up for the B-roll.
yeah, thanks SkillUp. We appreciate you guys. Now some of this I haven't even gotten to yet because it's probably towards the middle of the game, or I don't know, a couple missions in. I'm still pretty early. I would say I just finished that whole. Oh, I got the achievement for finishing the opening prologue, and then I did a couple of things, and that's kind of where I've left off for now.
Lengthy
So I haven't-
like opening section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you guys
of
think
setup.
about the what'd you think about the setup, the prologue so far? What are your takeaways in any area? Like music stand out, visuals, characters, the general set. What'd you think about it so far?
I don't want to speak for Dan or you, but I'm always, and I know Dan is usually too, like a story first type of guy. So it's like take your time, set it up. I don't care.
Yeah.
I really
Build it.
don't care.
Build
Yeah,
it.
build it up. Take it
Mhm.
slow. I'm
Settle
4 hours in, and I have had maybe 5% of the mechanics explained to me in this game. Like I just got to the hideout, and that's really robust. There's a lot of stuff going on with that, and I don't know if y'all went with the regular exploration or the guided exploration, but like the regular exploration is like really in depth. Like you have to like send scouts out to like scout areas and like bring back information, and they can
Oh,
like
nice.
they tabulate stuff on your map. You can still climb stuff and tabulate things that way as well, but
Yeah.
it's just there's a lot more involvement going on, and like I got to be honest, I haven't gotten to dive too much into it, so I don't know the depths of all that stuff or just how much or how often you use that stuff, but I already kind of like it than just having my whole entire map just like chicken poxed with all sorts of stuff. So,
Yeah.
Which is
Right.
always the complaint, right?
yeah, which I'm usually not a big complainer of, but like if we're talking about a more organic feel, like I don't feel like I need to run off somewhere way over there if like there's nothing over there quite yet. You know what I mean? So it is
Yeah.
nice
Yeah.
that your focus is a little more local to like where you're at the moment. But what did y'all think of the slow build up for like the beginning? I really I liked what I played of it. So or what
Gonna
what they
throw out there,
presented.
the Portuguese, my people, kind of dicks, kind of terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not really not the good guys in historically.
I gotta tell you, man,
it's not
between
really-
Shogun,
not really
between
nice.
Shogun and this, they're not looking great. You know what I mean? Like they're
this
just
is
not.
kind of
Portuguese
kind of a
people,
little blip.
kind of terrible.
kind of a
We're
kind
kinda-
of
we're
a,
kinda
uh,
terrible.
a bad mark on their history.
Hey, listen. It's all in the past. All right, we're just gonna sweep it under the. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Yeah,
but,
sweep it under the
Portuguese
rug.
people
Yeah,
were
yeah,
terrible. Yeah, sweep it under the rug. Portuguese people back in a long time ago, amongst other white people, very terrible. Still,
You know, it's
terrible
interesting
white
you
people,
say that
actually.
though. 'Cause I actually forgot how powerful Portugal was as like
Yeah, well,
At
all
one
the
time,
like
same.
how
we don't-
influential they were.
Absolutely, yeah. There was a time where
Mhm.
they were like heads of a lot of stuff.
They were like
Well,
one of the big boys, like sailing around the seas and doing all sorts of
Yeah.
shit and finding stuff and places and yeah.
Yep.
And apparently with Japan, it was a big deal. The trading, because Nobunaga there in the beginning, he's talking about how like, oh yeah, they're good for like trading and all that stuff. And it's like, oh
Mhm.
okay, I didn't know all that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and a big push for whether it's control or trying to evangelize your faith, but religion played a huge role in that with
Hmm.
them kind of bringing,
Of
um,
course,
is it Catholic faith or
Christianity.
was it Orthodox? Whatever it was,
I
whatever
thought,
version of Christianity they were bringing.
yeah, I forget
Jesuit
if the Portuguese were
priests? I can't.
Catholics. I
Yeah,
forget.
he just said
I know.
Christianity and the yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know in Shogun there's Catholicism and Christianity. So like they were
Mm,
both
Right.
in the
okay.
country at the time, but I
That's
forget.
right.
I think Portuguese brought Christianity,
So you've
and
got all these different
the
power poles
Romans.
that are that made the Shogun show so interesting because you have these Japanese warlords that are vying for power, especially when there's a vacuum, like there's an potentially an opening for leadership. And then you have external forces coming in, be they political or religious or trade or all the above. So it just makes for a fascinating story you can tell and kind of weave in these different
Yeah,
characters and then show kind of the collateral damage. We see that played out in this opening. But
It's
I will say
definitely
this:
taking itself seriously.
it is taking
yeah.
itself seriously. Yeah,
Well, and
yeah,
there has been a lot of historical accuracies so far in the fact that again this does take place after the Warring States period that Nobunaga ended. Again, depending on which
okay,
side of history you're on, was he a tyrant? Was he a hero? It's kind of up to the eye
right.
of the beholder. But like he did end all the civil wars, kind of like in Japan, and that's kind of where we're at. Like when this game starts, is there's kind of a unification kind of going on, and people are either going kicking and screaming or folding to kind of his will.
Gotcha. Okay, and so there's probably a lot of names that are coming up, family names, whatever, warlord names that you probably recognizing more, Kyle. That
Hmm.
maybe I'm like, huh? Who? They even
Sure.
mentioned like Hattori Hanzo once in passing, and I was like, I
Yeah,
feel like I've heard that
Yeah,
name before.
Fude is like the first guy that comes up and talks to them. Like he's like Oda Nobunaga's like right hand guy. Like he's a very famous,
Ah,
samurai.
okay,
So yeah, a lot
gotcha.
of again, a lot of what Assassin's Creed always does this. I always call it the Forrest Gumpification of video games. Where it's like they put a totally fictional character, or fictional adjacent characters, and just throw them
yeah.
into history. And most of the history, for the most part, is either real or close to real, or in the
Yeah,
ballpark of what they were doing. So just doing it again, So that's always cool to see
yeah.
them do that.
They always throw
For
the
the
thing in the front there, historical fiction, everybody,
That's
because
right.
people get bent out
That's
of
right.
shape. Well, why black man in Japan? It's like, well, guys, first of all, he was
Yeah,
actually there, but also this
That's
is,
right.
take it with, it's not actually real. It's a video game, and they're
Also,
taking
yeah,
creative
I wish people could
liberties.
ask the question more like this. Hey, why is there a black guy in Japan? Tell me about it. Like, tell me the story, right? That's a
right.
valid question. But when you
What's
say
this
it the
about?
Bill Burr style, like, what's this bleep, 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 and blah, you know what I mean? Like, then it's like, okay,
Sure.
Yeah,
now
yeah,
you're just. So I think it's a legitimate question to ask. And it's one of those things, and I know this is part of a cultural conversation too. It's one of those things that I think it's actually a good question to ask, to have the conversation, to learn what's part of the fun, fictional part of the story, and what's actually historically accurate that we know. We
yeah.
don't know
Right.
everything. And I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
great to learn. I think it's fun, and tell me a fun story along the way.
And I
Awesome.
hope that people like get a good story out of this and then go
I
and
do
learn the
too.
real history. You know what I
But I
mean?
think
Like,
it's
yeah,
okay to ask
maybe
that question. Hey,
are
why
you
this
into?
guy? And why are you doing
Yeah,
it this way? I think it's fine to ask
Well,
it
right.
if you're truly wanting to know that and are open to it. But if you're just asking it because you're mad about everything, that's different. But I
yeah,
was asking it from the perspective of interesting choice. Like
yeah.
that's a bold choice. Like it's almost like they were asking for controversy. Let's see what happens. And I've only
Bold
seen
choice there,
Yasuke a
Cotton.
couple times. Bold choice or Cotton. I've only seen the character a few times so far, and I'm already
Yeah.
intrigued. I thought they did a great job of introducing him. Like the villagers and others are like, "What is this thing? Is that a like?" He's huge. He's intimidating. He's a bodyguard,
You'll hear a lot of little like chirping as you're walking through
and they
towns.
comment on him right
Yeah,
away. And even Nobunaga is immediately like, "Who's this? I want this guy to stay with me.
Yes.
Like, I want this
hmm
guy.
Well,
Like,
he
there's
has a
something about
presence,
him."
not just because he looks different, but he just has this kind of like air. Like he has that moment where he's like, so yeah, that guy right there just like looked around the room and noticed all of the,
He noticed that
the
right away. Yeah,
pinpointed all of the
hmm
danger that's in the room,
that's
and he's
right.
like, there's a warrior in that fella right there, So
Didn't that make you
Yeah.
kind of immediately like Yasuke? Like, dude, my guy's awesome. My dude is
Yeah,
cool.
I
Like
did. Yeah,
he,
again, if you're just taking it from like a character building moment or whatever, not a
yeah,
history moment or anything like that, just like again,
right,
you're
right.
crafting a good story and good characters. Yeah, that's awesome. It's a
yeah,
really cool way to
totally.
to show off that like, hey, this guy is more than he seems.
Yep.
More
And it
capable
sounds
than
like
he
the
seems.
Portuguese just kind of found him barely alive out in the ocean somewhere, and they
Yeah,
scooped him up as their own personal bodyguard slave, dude. And so,
Hmm.
right.
um, so now he's got an actual opportunity, according to this version of the story, in Nobunaga's army as one of his seems like main soldiers, main samurai, to fight for him. So you get to battle with him right away. What do you guys think so far? Did you get to that part yet, Dan, where you get to actually fight as him?
Yeah, so I'm basically I passed to that part, and then I'm
Okay.
as playing as was it
Naoe.
Naui,
No way.
Now way.
where she's
Yeah.
sneaking around looking for something. So
Okay. So what do you
I'm
think
basically
about
right in the beginning. So,
Yasuke fighting, like big brute bashing through doors? What do you guys think about
yeah,
his
it's
style
definitely
of
more
fighting?
noticeable. The difference is noticeable, like where she's kind of small and agile, and she's doing some flips here and there, but she's not
Yeah,
doing as much damage, right? It's more like chip
that's right.
damage.
And she can't break
But
their
she's
guard as
more,
easily or for as long, right? If you do the power
yeah,
up moves.
And
Yeah.
a lot
yeah,
more of
yeah.
their moves showcase as red, than blockable. So it's like they want you to dodge
Right.
a little
So
more with her and stuff
dodging,
like that.
yeah.
You can you
But
can block some attacks, but I just noticed a lot more attacks coming her way are usually red.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
indicator
Mm-hmm.
that's unblockable. Yeah, I don't know. He feels good. I remember running through my first door and going, yeah, I'm going to be doing that the whole game. Just him barreling through
Just
a
running
door.
through everything.
Just
Yeah.
loved that. That felt good. I like the weightiness
And
of it.
hey, the
And
execution kills though. Come on.
oh
Like,
yeah, and there's a lot of, I mean, like the physics on the heads flying off and the blood coming
yeah.
out. Like
Yeah.
they really talked up the dismemberments in this game, and like
Yep.
they're doing good so far. Yeah, I do like that.
And it's a good reminder too that how much I loved the Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla combat to different
hmm
degrees, but I did really enjoy the and this is another evolution of that. I'll look to showing some Star Wars clips. Probably talking
Yeah,
about Ubisoft.
another
Say
game
what?
everyone was totally chill about. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Everyone
it's a good way
loves
to describe it.
Ubisoft lately. Everyone
Yeah.
Yeah,
does. Everyone.
It's the UB love. We all have the
It
UB
makes me
love.
wonder if when a new Far Cry comes out, is it just going to get treated like this too? Like, are
Oh,
we
for
just
sure.
over Ubisoft?
Yeah.
Because like Far Cry's
The
pretty
only
beloved, right? Like
the only safe game they can make now is have it in a unidentifiable location with static, like just like blacked out characters. All they are is just like static,
yeah.
like
Sure.
static on a
Sure.
screen, and you can't
Like
see what race they
stick
are, what
figures.
gender they are.
That's gonna
Stick
make for a real
figures.
weird Splinter Cell. I'll tell you that.
He still has the
Like you're
goggles,
But
but
like,
he's just a
describing,
stick
yeah,
figure.
exploding the
but
goggles with like a.
Yeah,
you're mentioning
yeah,
Far Cry though, or next Far Cry, and it's like, well, we'll see, because I mean, this game's kind of make it or break it for it seems like for
Yeah,
yeah,
Ubisoft.
they
Um,
just announced, like, I mean, minutes ago, like right before we started, that a million people are playing concurrently right now, which
yeah.
is better than Valhalla and Odyssey.
That's right.
So it's launching well. It's the first 24 hours though. You can never tell
yeah,
how these things are gonna go, but early,
Yep.
people don't care. There's a lot of noise online, but like as we I think discuss here, ultimately there's a whole sect of people out there who just don't care about any of this, like the
They
noise
won't
and
ever
like the
play it. They were
drama.
never going to play it, but
Well,
they
not only
love
that, but I'm
to.
talking to people who
Sure.
were going to play it always, but are checked out on the drama. So it's like the
Ah,
drama doesn't
sure,
affect
yeah,
their
yes.
yeah,
ability to buy it,
Right.
or
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
masses' abilities to want it or
Well, I
whatever.
think a lot of the
That's
criticism is from people who either don't even play games that often anyway and don't
yeah,
care about Assassin's Creed, weren't going to play this, or maybe they did
yeah,
like Assassin's Creed, but now they've chosen not to play it. So a lot of people just aren't going to play it. For people who have, there probably are some good criticisms of it and some good
yeah.
praise to give to it. It seems like what was the average right now? It's like at 81, 82.
82 or something, yeah, something like that.
It's really good, and it's even gotten several nines from notable
I've
outlets
seen
too. So
plenty of
that's
nines. Yeah.
impressive. Yeah, that's really impressive.
Absolutely, and I know a lot of the controversies again rely on like was Yusuke samurai or not, but like again, fictionally and from Japan, they love
Right,
to represent
right.
him as a samurai. You have
Right.
Afro Samurai, which is based off of him. You have the Yosuke anime on Netflix that's based off him, where he's a samurai.
Yeah.
And most video games where you run across like a black samurai, his name is usually Yusuke. So it's just it's something that it may not be historical, but we like to use them fictionally. Much like we have like Pesos Bill, bat down in Texas, who like
Yeah.
lassoed a tornado with a
That's right.
rattlesnake. Hey, guess what,
That's
guys? He
right.
didn't really do that. That's made up.
Yeah, he
You
didn't.
know.
He actually just
But
died
we
in a
like
tornado. That's all he
I'm
did.
gonna believe.
we
I
tell
believe.
we tell that tall tale, which I believe we call him here, like American
Or like
fantasy,
Paul
pretty much.
Bunyan's giant blue ox or whatever he was supposed
Yeah,
to, or John
yeah, guys.
Henry. I forget.
It
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
okay to just take something,
Yeah.
by name that happened in history and like twist it to a point of just fiction, and like that's okay.
Yeah.
I
Like,
It's
agree
just
with you, and
extra
I'll tell you
heated
this.
nowadays.
That to me was the question I had going into this, and I promise you, I just had it was a very like truly curious. I'm going to play this game, and I'm curious. Did they pick this character because they're going to tell us a really interesting, and so far it is interesting, story,
agree.
a la Shogun, Fish Out of Water.
I was
Let's
gonna say,
make
yeah,
you, the
they're using
player,
the
feel like,
foreigner, yeah.
yeah, are they going to do that and tell a really compelling part of the story with it? I hope so. And so far, it seems like they're going that way. Or the negative side of that is I hope they're not doing it just because they feel like they have to do something diverse. I don't think they are. That's what they're getting
I
accused
mean, it
of.
makes
But
sense.
that is the question in my head, and I'm so glad so far it
Yeah,
doesn't seem like that's the case.
But may,
So,
may I also
it
ask another
makes.
question? And this is not pointed towards you, but towards everybody.
hmm
Do the French believe in American woke culture? Like, or are we projecting that onto them? Because like
yeah, you're
none
right.
of us are French, you know what I mean?
You're
So it's
right.
like I
You're
don't
right.
know what it's like over there,
Oh,
but like, is that the atmosphere over there, or do we just
I
love
don't
the
know, but I know it
to
didn't help
project
them
that
that
out?
around the
You know?
same time they announced this, they had a bunch of the developers get up and introduce themselves with their pronouns and wearing the rainbow pins. And I just know that there's a certain
Yeah,
crowd that
sure.
everything they said after that was
don't like
like,
that.
oh,
Yeah,
everything you make is
for,
an agenda now. And I just knew, like, boy, this messaging is packaged in a way that is only going to hurt them for their perception, I suppose.
for
But
certain
I'm
people.
so
Yeah,
glad that noise has mostly died down and the game is actually here for us to play. And as you're seeing
yeah.
in these clips we're watching, it's gorgeous. Like these
Oh,
people,
that
these
looks cool.
developers, these artists, I haven't seen this yet. This looks awesome.
This is a
They've put
meditation
in
game. You know?
I mean, the level of detail. There's a clip from Odyssey. Oh, what a good game. The level of
Yes.
detail that they put into this already, and the armor and the faces and the even just the shrubbery as you're hiding and things. Like everything looks so pretty. It's super fun to play. We haven't even talked about the stealth yet. Let's get off of the cultural stuff. The stealth in this game already. I'm like, finally, Assassin's Creed is back. Like this is real stealth. It
Well,
feels
that's
Yeah.
why it's
awesome.
nice to have the two different characters because you can have like the brute, which is like okay, so you're giving me just a different option of like playing a different way. But then,
We just
yeah,
punch
you have
everything.
Naue, who's an
hmm
assassin, so she's
That's
Well,
right.
sneaking around and
Yep.
you have two
more
different
nimble and
camps of Assassin's Creed now, where it's like a lot of people grew up with the stealth side of it, and a lot of people grew up with like the action RPG side of
The
it,
brute.
and like
hmm
they really finally, for the first time in my opinion, married where it both feel like adequate ways of going about playing the game. Whereas like in
Yeah.
Odyssey, and this is not a diss because I love Odyssey, it's
I
just
love
like there was
Odyssey.
no moment in time where I was like, I think I'm gonna stealth this section. Like I've just
Right.
it was
It's an
never this
option,
never
but
got
why
there
would
personally.
you? Like I
Yeah, yeah.
rarely did. Yeah. Yeah.
It
I'm
just
with
it
you.
went by quicker if you
Just
just
walk in
minion,
the
you
front
know what
door
I mean?
and
Yeah,
start
and
that's
you are
fighting.
also why I
capable
liked
enough where
Origins
you
the
can do that.
most.
hmm
Yeah,
And Origins still kind of it still was like
they had a
felt
foot
like
in
an
the door
Assassin's
still.
Creed game.
Yeah,
Um,
hmm
and it was a really unique setting, and then yeah, and then they obviously deviated from that, but
One of the
but it's
coolest
it's cool that
settings.
they
Yeah.
they married both ideas because me and Tim were talking last night where it's like this it feels like Tenchu. Like there's a lot of
Yeah, it
stuff in here
does.
where I'm just
Yeah.
like I've been waiting for this stuff forever, like just like ninja
hmm
stuff, but I didn't want to have
yeah.
the sacrifice of missing out on a cool samurai game either. So it's
Hey,
like
Kingdom
I
Come
get
Deliverance 2 is on the
look at this.
B-roll.
Oh
It's
my
cool that I
god,
get both, and I can kind of switch to both. And it seems like you're going to
yeah.
come across missions. I'm like 4 hours in, and I have not seen Yasuke since the beginning of the game. So,
Yeah, so he has a
uh,
short
I mean, these
intro and then
games
it's
are
all now
beefy.
away for a while.
yeah, yeah.
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 It's they set her up for quite a while, and I'm like I don't even know when you get to him. So,
The reviews
Well,
I've
I
read,
was
it sounds like you'll eventually get to pick which one you want to use for most things, and then story missions are assigned to individual ones depending on the. But I
mhm.
don't know if that's true. That's just
Well,
kind of what I've heard.
I've heard
that's
that they
what I've heard
definitely
as
lean
well.
more Naue too. Like she is like if you had
Yeah,
to like gun to your head, be like, who is the main character? It is
yeah.
her.
Which is
Well,
funny
it's cool
because
because
What I've
she.
heard.
Remember
So
Huber said from Easy Allies that the game feels like it leans the guy, where it's like I
That's
would never
funny.
yeah,
use
well,
it
at
that
least
way,
gameplay
so
wise, right?
it's
Because it just
Yeah,
feels easier to kind of plow through everything as you.
yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense.
But
That
yeah,
makes sense.
it
Look at him
sounds like
climbing.
you're gonna come across like castles that are built for like keep like in history are built for keeping shinobi out. So it's like they're gonna be like surfaces and areas that like she just can't
She
get
can't get
through.
through.
So
Yeah, or
it's like
climb over.
you may think that like, hey, this big castle, this is gonna be good for her to like sneak into, but there's actually a lot
Yeah,
of things working against her. So I again I haven't gotten there yet. It's a lot of hearsay
yeah,
from that I'm talking about from my end, but
uh,
enough people are hearsaying, that it sounds like
yeah,
there are if there is a choice like when you're going into a mission like who do I want to play as right now,
yeah,
or you can
yeah.
get comfortable too, like it sounds like you can brute way you're forced through the game or sneak your way through the whole game, but like
Yep.
maybe some moments there's going to be some difficulty spikes for you.
So there's a couple of features they have right away that I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have to wait to unlock this. One of them is marking your enemies, so you can use your eagle eye and literally just aim and mark them. That's one of those things I love in stealth games. I like to know where the enemies are. I know that's not realistic. I don't want it to be realistic. I want to be awesome at stealthing. So like,
Yeah.
let me mark the enemies so I can sneak around. So I love that piece, and the lighting thing. So like the first mission they give you, there's more Odyssey.
These
Gosh,
fights were always the best. I like
I
these
love
big
those
fights in
battles.
Odyssey.
Yeah,
Yeah. I hope there's
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
this in this. Yeah.
Oh, a
I
little
hope
old
so
school
too.
here. A little old school.
This is Mirage, I think,
Yeah.
Oh,
which
is
is
it
a
okay?
decent game, but not a great game, but it's a decent game.
They went too
Um,
old school, right?
it just it was a little jank,
There's
but
some restrictions that I just didn't like in that game.
yeah, this feels like a breath of fresh air again after playing Mirage. The last Assassin's Creed memory I have is Mirage, and I'm like, I liked it, but
Well, they've also
pretty
given themselves a good
forgettable.
amount of time to like keep massaging this because they did
Yeah, they
delay it a
have.
couple times at
They
least,
did.
right? So
So right here, she just turned out that light. This is one of the things that I love. Little touches like this, where you can extinguish the light to sneak, and certain lights you have to
yeah,
shoot or break or whatever, but some of them you can
Hmm.
just extinguish. And I love that. It brings in, like, it reminds me of one of my favorite ninja games, which is the side-scrolling game Mark of the Ninja. I
Hmm.
love Mark of the Ninja so
Which it feels
much.
like they've lifted that whole thing up because like there is a whole shadow mechanic in this, whereas if you're in the
Yep.
shadows and it's night, like no one can see you, you
It's
know.
like
So
it's
yeah.
like being in bushes basically, where you're totally
yeah,
hidden, right? And
absolutely. Yeah.
um,
Now maybe if you're jumping around and stuff like that, maybe they'll hear you or whatever.
right.
But yeah, I mean, like there is an extra mechanic there where yeah, they lifted right from a game I love as well. Yeah, Mark of the Ninja, which
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's
Oh,
that
it's
meter that
so
I
good.
was kind of like at first confused by, but like, so if someone is if you're in
Your
someone's line of
visibility.
sight, like there's a second meter that pops up, right? But yeah, you see that
Yeah.
little eyeball with the light that fills the
Yep.
lines that fill in, and I was just like, so is this
It's
them
this one
seeing
right, it's
me?
right
And I
up
was like,
here.
oh,
I think
I
it's
think one of them is how visible you are, and the other is if someone
right,
sees you.
right,
Right?
right,
Is that
right.
what it
So it
is?
took me a
Yeah.
so
second to
this
figure that
this
out, and
this one right here, underneath it says Katano Castle, and then this eyeball's it's totally full. That means she's fully visible. But
Hmm.
like the more
yeah,
dark you're in, the more those white lines on the side go down. Which you're right. That's like
it
a
took me a
nice subtle
moment of figuring.
touch. Yeah, it's a nice
Yeah.
subtle
Yeah.
touch to show you how stealthy
It
you're
just gives
being.
you a little bit of extra information to be like, oh, okay, I'm this visible. I should probably,
Yeah.
move around somewhere that's in like the shadows and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And it has some
but
very familiar,
yeah,
and of course done before, but done really well here. Combat mechanics, everything from, and they didn't tell me to block yet, but I just kind of knew like LB's probably parry, and you parried
yeah,
someone right away. Red means you should dodge, and then I like the new. For me, at least, it's new. Blue means it's a combo, so you have to be ready to parry a couple of different combos in a row and then attack. Like
yep, yep.
that stuff, it's intuitive, and sometimes that's really all I want. I don't actually want a new game where the Y button is to jump and to attack is left trigger. Like you don't mess with my world. Give me something that's
Yeah.
F3.
intuitive. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that it all just feels like this is how I expect it to feel. This is what I remember from the other games, and it's a new setting, and I can really just focus on the story and the setting and the environment. It's great, man. So far I'm really digging it, and I'm actually now that I hit the open world, and then I had to turn in. I was getting late last night. Um, but man, I cannot wait to now just start exploring and going to see things. And then, of course, getting back to Yasuke because it's been mostly now away for a while. And she's awesome. I
Yeah.
like her a lot.
And
But it is
dude,
interesting
like,
that we got so little of him, and again, like he's splash big enough where we're all like, I want to get back to that guy, like again,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like you never,
right.
no one knew how he was gonna end up playing out for everybody, you know. So the fact that
Oh,
in such a little amount of time that people
so
are already
brutal.
interested, that's cool, you know.
yeah,
Um,
I totally
but yeah,
agree.
like the way that it's shot, it like seems really. It's just done really well. Like,
Yeah, a
just the
lot of love
music
was
and
put
then
into this thing, man.
yeah, like the acting seems really pretty solid so far.
Hmm.
Nobunaga has a presence. Like when you first like he comes up
Yeah,
on the screen, everyone's just like, "Oh my god!" And then they all kind of
Yeah.
like are down bowed and everything. Like everyone just bows immediately. He's just strutting along. He just went hunting or something. Like they're
yeah,
pulling the carcass off of the back of his horse. Like
Hmm.
they're really like being like, "This is I mean, this is
yeah.
Nobunaga. He's a big deal." So
That was.
um,
You're right. That was a
I'm,
nice
I'm
little touch. They took their time. That was actually a pretty long cutscene without much
Yeah.
dialogue at that
yeah.
point.
He didn't
It was
say
just
anything. Well, he
he just
whispered to that
controlled that
woman,
whole
but
plaza without you don't hear anyone saying anything. Everyone's
yeah,
bowing and
Well,
waiting and looking
and you can
around.
tell that Yasuke is like really like taken by that. He's like, oh, this guy
Yeah,
yeah,
commands like a lot of respect, and you know,
yeah.
like
yeah.
he noted, you know, he clocked it. I guess like he clocks
Like
many
You're
I'm
things
right.
very quickly.
I'm very curious about their relationship because I mean that
He
is
can't climb on
historically
ropes.
accurate.
Did you see the rope break when he tried to get
Yeah,
on?
I saw that.
Yeah, he's a big
big
boy.
heavy ass motherfucker.
He's a
But that
he's
that
a
is
big boy.
historically
I want to
accurate.
see that
He
again.
did like kind of bring Yosuke on, and I'm curious how their relationship
Oh.
kind of like
I want to see. I'm
is
assuming
funny.
it deteriorates, obviously, because like Naoe is
Sure,
like
sure.
anti-Oda Nobunaga, and I'm I'm sure
Yeah.
at some point he's gonna like be like, I'm not. This is not what I signed up for. But I can't wait to see
Yeah.
that deterioration. I hope they handle it good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if this
Yeah.
all just ends up being a really simple but well executed like revenge story, I like those. Those are good.
Me too.
Like
Yeah.
revenge is a good template. Like it always
Me
has
too.
been. So.
And Yasuke is just one of those guys who works for someone who's not purely bad, but he starts to realize maybe he's on the wrong side. Maybe helps this girl is what I imagine probably happens.
Yeah.
Or not on the wrong side, but just decides to help her for whatever reason. Like they team up for some reason. So I'm not sure exactly
Something
how that's all
happens,
going to go down.
Dude, what is he trying to do? He's trying to like climb up
I
that
don't know.
wall.
I
He
can't
do
climb.
it.
That was the other thing about Naue is that like again
don't
we
know
were
what this
talking about
is.
how she's more the stealth
funny.
gal or whatever, but you spend a lot of the front part of this game playing as her, so a lot of doing in the open world, running across like random fights and stuff like that. She can fight, like you just have to be a little more
Yeah,
nimble
she
with
can.
her. So it's like she's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
incapable. I've gone against a crowd. I'm playing on normal. I don't have any of the modifiers on or anything like that, and like she's very capable as long as you've played a
Yeah.
video game
Yeah.
before. So I don't feel like whenever three people like surround me, I'm not like, oh, I'm screwed. I should reload or whatever. Like I
You
can
just have to
take
be
care of
like a
this.
little more patient. Some
Yeah.
some extra dodging.
Look
and,
for your
and stuff,
openings and that kind of
For your
thing.
opening, yeah, absolutely.
With him, you can create all the openings. So
yeah,
that's the
he
difference.
just he
Yeah.
feels like a tank. Like just
I can't
yeah.
wait to get
so
the club with him because I just want to like bash things.
Just the
I want to
big
get that
old-
Naginata,
yeah.
man. I want to
The
see him. Like,
Naginata, the
that's
two-handed. Yeah.
And now it gets a cool like chain like weapon or
Yeah,
whatever.
I want that
for crowd
too.
Control. I want that bad. So
Yeah, I'm pumped for this, man. This is like full-on open world action RPG set in a samurai shogun setting. And it's the first one that we've had since Ghost of Tsushima, which was my favorite game of 5 years ago now.
I guess Rise of the Ronin. I guess a little bit too, but
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that game. Like most
yeah, we
people
all did.
probably
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We all
Whoops.
moved on.
We all moved on. But I do like that he has some cool moves, Yasuke, but he's not perfectly finessed and everything. He just kind of overpowers.
Mhm.
I kind of like that. If it feels
Me too.
like you're a dude who's just naturally a good fighter and incredibly big and strong, and you don't do all the moves perfectly. You weren't raised in this culture to know everything perfectly, but you're awesome. Like you can overpower pretty much everyone. And he is still very smooth in a lot of the stuff that he does.
Mhm.
But dang, there's so much to equip. I can't wait to get to some of this stuff.
There's a lot to it. It's mechanically very deep. Like there's a lot of stuff. When y'all get to like the hideout, like you'll see like it's like it's on a grid thing, and like you can make a whole bunch of buildings, and all the buildings do something different. I mean, we've seen these mechanics before in this series, but like
Yeah.
it just seems like they leaned into it in a big way.
When was
and,
I was gonna say when was the last time they leaned into that? Was it Assassin's
I
Creed
don't
2?
know.
Because you had like
I
a
think it
hideout
had
in
to have
2,
been
and you could
since 2, right? I mean, 2
you
was
could
like the
upgrade
big
it.
one.
Yeah. There were shops that you can upgrade over time, like you were actually rebuilding that little like villa,
That's right.
like hidden like
Yeah.
villa
Even
area.
in Valhalla, you were building up that whole town.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
Valhalla,
talking
you
about,
had
talking
it.
about Valhalla?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
had.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
You
yeah.
were building
Yeah.
like huts and stuff like that,
And
but
then
it
you
was
were
more
setting
just
up
like we built this
decorations.
here,
Mm-hmm.
This feels a little more in depth than Valhalla,
Okay.
Okay.
in terms of that stuff, which I
Yeah,
like.
your little
Again,
like riverside village, you were upgrading and
I
adding
love
things,
that
and
in
then
Valhalla. Yeah,
you had these little decoration things. You can make it
When
more
you
of a
you'd
Viking
set up.
look, like you guys
That's
are,
right.
or English look. Like you could give it all kinds of looks. But
Well,
this is more
when you
apparently.
set up like a new thing there, like it opens up like mission chains and stuff like that. So maybe a lot of that stuff will make its way into this. But
I'm just looking at this map. I paused it here. Do you have a sense of like how big the map is
I
yet?
mean, when you like pull out, like it's big. Like all the areas around you are like level 25.
Dan, don't say it.
up and stuff like
I just saw him go.
that. It seems big though. So
Yeah. I can't remember what they said. Did they say like how it compares to previous games?
I think it's
can't
not their
remember.
biggest. They went for more density. Is what I
Because
remember
Valhalla was
hearing.
so
I
vast.
prefer
It was like
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like density too.
I mean, and not only
I
that, Valhalla
prefer.
was like,
Yeah.
and then you can go back to Norway, and there's all that map, and I'm
Mm,
like, Jesus Christ,
yeah,
there's
what are you
way
guys
too
This is
much
doing?
absurd.
area.
Absolutely
But Odyssey
absurd.
was insane. Odyssey was insanely huge as well. This is not as big as those two. I hear they went for more density, and like, there's
Yeah.
not as much like maybe things to do per. I don't know. Like it just there in this first area, there's a density to like the wilderness that like you are sticking to the roads mostly. It's not like you're just like Skyriming your way up a mountain. Like she will like
Mm.
slide down and stuff like that. So there's a lot of like kind of funneling you through. But I like that. I mean, like that's how people
Yeah, yeah.
traveled. Like people weren't psychopaths and just like walk through the forest like get to the next town. They
Just
used the
running
roads,
up
like
mountains, like
so yeah, like so I do like that, but it kind of like while you're on those roads, there will be other things that you'll naturally run into NPCs to talk to a quick quest or whatever, And I
Yep.
just there's an organic nature to how like the missions are presented to you, and I just like that so far. Again,
I
I'm
like that
super
too.
early. A lot of this stuff could change in a big way, but
That's what I
like
liked about
this,
Kingdom Come Deliverance too, as well as it didn't overwhelm you, but there was so much like you could if you chose to talk to people and if you actually explored, you would stumble across all kinds of stuff. I mean, Witcher 3 was not unlike that either. They didn't
yeah,
necessarily try to overwhelm you, but if you talked to everyone and went everywhere, you would never run out of things to do.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it just depends on how much you want to explore. I think
The
to its
last part,
credit, Dragon's Dogma 2 did a really good job of that, where people just
yeah,
walk up to you and like ask you something, and then boom, there's a quest.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Their
that
way
felt
of
pretty
quest
organic.
pretty organic. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
never a quest marker really. Like it was just like someone would talk to you and you'd be like, "Oh, I got a quest for that."
Oh, that's a
Okay.
quest. Okay. Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
and that's cool. It's cool about this is that there's a lot of quests in this game. You always saw like the meditation mini game earlier. That's like some of the red icons on the maps that you see here.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like you'll go there and like it's like a meditative like mini game that you do real quick, and then you load into a mission. And for Naue, it's like missions when she was back in her ninja village. So it's like flashback missions. So
Oh,
you're
okay.
it's piecemealing out like backstory that's not part of the main mission. So it's like
Got it.
if you're like traveling and you see like a meditative spot, she's like, oh, I can like reflect or whatever, and you go over there and you do like a
Oh,
10-15 minute
cool.
mission that's like a contained quick little mission real quick. And again, like it just there's a nice
Does it
storytelling.
involve that Aunt Mitsu lady? Because I feel like they
Yeah,
left
there's
me
a lot of
hanging
her.
on the. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
lot. Yeah, it
They
picks up
left me hanging on
directly
what
from her.
happens there.
It kind of
Okay.
picks up directly from like you experience her first kill in one of the flashbacks. You experience her
Okay.
first like like kind of coming into her own, and some of it's kind of like tutorials a little bit, or just kind of
Mm-hmm.
reminders or more depth to like what that mechanic is. But it's just a really interesting way to again like without stopping the pacing of the main story that's going on. The game gives you opportunities to learn about stuff that's already happened to kind of flesh out these characters. So
That's
I'm
cool.
assuming Yasuke is gonna have the same stuff maybe, but again, like
I hope so.
I just feel like this game's gonna be 100 hours and they lied to us again. Like there's no way that this game's like 40 hours or
I doubt
whatever.
it's short, but
Yeah,
It depends on how you play games, right? Like I
yeah.
think some of us
yeah.
dig into the corners more than others. I tend to be,
Mhm.
especially if I really am loving it. If the gameplay is working and the setting has grabbed me, I'll play it for a lot longer than I need to. You know what I
Because
mean?
if it's
Yeah.
if
I usually do
they're
that.
saying 40 hours and I'm already 5 hours in, which is a good fraction. It's a good chunk of that 40 hours, and like I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything. But I am stopping and smelling the roses a lot, so that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
you really have actually story wise like a couple hours, right? Like
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I just got to the like where Tim is at. Like, it's probably telling him to go to the next story mission. I just didn't do
Mhm.
that.
yeah.
I just
Just
started
went and
exploring.
explored.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah, that's
just
kind of
went
what I
and
want to do too. I want to go
yeah. I would
explore. I want to
suggest
go find
maybe
the
just
high
just
points.
go to that first part just to get your hideout, and then once you get in your hideout, then maybe start exploring, because the
Hmm.
hideout kind of unlocks like kind of the knowledge of like, oh, I need to be collecting materials and yada yada for this stuff. So
Yeah.
might
That's
be
kind of
worth at
cool.
least
You
rushing
can
to
like
visit that.
look at points live while you're standing up
Up
on a.
there. Yeah, and you can mark them
Yeah,
from
that's
there
kind of
too. Like
cool.
just hit triangle and again, they
It's a little
have the
Zelda-like,
cool.
huh? Then they did
They
it in
have
some of the other recent
yeah.
Assassin's Creed. I think Valhalla did that. I think
Yeah.
where you
Yeah,
yeah
and they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the cool Xenoblade line where it's like, I don't know where I'm going. You just like hit navigation, and just a nice line pops up
yeah
that shows you
yeah
exactly where you need to go. So if like there's a big mountain and you're trying to get up to the top of it, it'll show you wherever the mountain path is. Which
yeah.
is it's nice. I like that. I know some people don't like the training wheels, but every once in a while, I just want to get to where I'm going.
Agreed. Oh, there's good old Odyssey. Gosh, what a good game. All right, so let's enough of the Ubisoft clips they keep throwing at us. Okay, so I think it's safe to say overall we're really liking this game. Now we're very early. I think it's, between the three of us, we still haven't even scratched the surface of what this game has to offer. But we
Yeah.
have tried it.
Barely scratching.
Technically, it just came out today. It was out last night. If you stayed up late, like sounds like Kyle did. I know I did for a little bit and played it some last night. But I know we're going to be playing it more next time we meet together to record. For sure, we'll have more to say about it.
You might all
No
hate
doubt
it by
about that.
next night. You never know.
Probably, probably. Yeah, I'm gonna totally join all the other teams that hate it. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
they were right the whole time.
Everyone was right, all of them.
All those
Dude, it's
social media grifters, they're correct.
yeah. Oh my gosh, guys, they're just looking for your clicks. Don't click on it. If it's
Yeah.
got a
Oh, they're
big
gonna click,
thumbnail
too.
that
You know
says,
that
They're gonna click.
everyone knows that, right? That people put out
yeah,
like crazy
don't,
headlines, but people fight in the comment section for traction.
yeah,
Like,
you,
we're all aware that that's the system, right? That we
they've
agree
been doing
to.
it for a long time. Assassin's
It's been
Creed is
happening a
cooked, and
while.
here's why. And it's like, all
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah, right.
Oh, you see, that's the
Don't
thing, though.
click
They
it.
think that they're warriors. They're out there fighting the good fight. That's what
No,
they
they're
do.
making money. That's all they're doing,
Hey,
Dan. They're just
everybody,
making money.
journalism is dead, and it has been for about 20 years. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's your super
Really
helpful
sad.
commentary from us on
Yeah.
that issue. But listen, this is not the only new game that is out this week. I know that we haven't played this yet because we're recording a little early, and this isn't even technically out yet. But you guys might be. This might be a Dan or Kyle game. I don't really know. It's called Bleach: Rebirth of Souls. You guys familiar with this?
Bleach
No.
is not one I've dived into. That I am.
Wait, is this the
don't-
anime Bleach?
Yeah.
Is that what this is?
Oh, definitely,
yeah,
definitely anime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a.
I think it's a
it's really
fighting
hard
game.
to get me. It's really hard to get me to admit that I like super mainstream media. So I'm sorry, anime. So I just don't.
That's fair.
And I really don't like Bleach. I don't like Inuyasha. I don't like these like a lot of these like.
I think it's a
these
fighting
type
game.
of-
My problem was I watched the trailer because I knew we were gonna look at it, but I'm like I scrubbed through it. All I see is like anime cutscene clips. I don't see any like I don't know what
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of game it
wondering-
It
is.
is a fighting game. Yeah, I think a lot of these anime games are fighting games.
So whatever.
I know it's
It'd be-
big.
It's available
it would be
now.
helpful.
Isn't it back? I think it's back too. I think they're doing new seasons.
Well, like
of it.
Bleach
People
was
are
away
excited
for a
about this.
while, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it came back.
There you go.
Some
I know
arc.
people like it. Don't listen to
Big
my
arc.
grumpy ass. I
So
don't-
please,
don't-
please be
don't watch-
excited.
Yeah, watch Bleach.
I'm
Like your Inuyashas. You're fine.
Yeah, go do it, and don't feel bad, even though Kyle is judging you.
No, I'm not.
watch
I
your One
am, but
Piece
I'm not. Like, let's just say I'm not. Just to get
Let's just stick with you now.
Kyle,
Yeah.
we like Dragon Ball Z. That's a big boy anime.
It's
That
the most
is.
mainstream ever. That's why I say I'm that's why I prefaced it the way that I said. I'm like,
Okay.
I was careful, because that
Yeah.
is the most famous anime. So yes, I mean, you will
By
catch
far.
me. I like
Yeah.
My Hero Academia, also one of the most like famous, likable animes out there. But like usually they rub me the
What a
wrong way,
joy.
or I'm just like I've seen this shonen before, like. All
By the
shonen
way,
everything.
speaking of anime, I love that episode of Bad Friends. I've been randomly watching some older ones here and there that I hadn't seen
Yes.
before, so it jumps all around the timeline of the Bad Friends universe. But when they're talking to Rudy Jules, about what she's into,
Yep.
she talks about One Piece, and it's just such a funny
Yep.
conversation of them talking about One Piece and how she
I love
thinks
it.
that Zoro is hot, and they're like, "What? This guy?" So they start googling
Yeah.
stuff. Like, it goes off the rails so fast, and it's so funny.
It's
It's
great,
really
yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Rudy's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's-
she like
she's
her
such a
presence on
weird
that show
dynamic
as
to that show.
she's just like a normal kind of grumpy introvert, but
Yeah.
works really well with those two. I love it. man. I
Yeah,
love
she
it.
doesn't realize that she has like a natural knack for being like entertaining. I don't think she has
Yeah.
any like clue or whatever. Have you seen the episode where she's like sharpening her knife? or
Oh
cleaning the
yes,
knife.
I did see that.
And,
Like, where'd you get a
whole
knife?
podcast stops and be like, what are you doing? And she's sharpening or cleaning a knife that's like the size of her, you know? Like, it's
But then
so
she
my
instantly gets
God.
mad. Like, why'd you bring a knife? And she gets really defensive. Like, they told me I could
What do you
bring
mean?
it. Like,
Yeah, I'm just cleaning my knife. Why are y'all talking
yeah,
to me about it?
it's so good. It's so
good.
that show's the best, man.
Bad
I
Friends is
love
like
Bad
one of my
Friends.
favorite podcasts. Yeah.
It's so good. All right, well, check out this game that is out this week. I think it was already either demo or early access was out, but it's from the people who made Moonlighter and Mage Seeker.
Oh.
It's called Cataclysmo. They call it a base building, real time strategy, siege defense kind of combo of things. So you're setting up defenses as these swarms of things come in. But I like the visual style. I think it looks interesting. Yeah, so here you go. The trailer's kind of giving you what you need to know. But I did like Moonlighter a lot. It's a really creative take on the dungeon running, and instead of running a farm, now you're running a shop. So I kind of liked what Moonlighter did. And then Mage Seeker, which I played criminally little of that. I think I've got about a third of the way through it before I got distracted. But that's a really fun League of Legends spin-off game. I loved Mage Seeker. So I'm glad to see this team
Remember
is
those
still
games? I
kicking.
felt like we were getting like 2 of those a year, and they just kind of stopped.
It kind of stopped right after the Song of Nunu one, which was okay. It was a pretty
Well, I know that
standard
they had
kid-friendly
announced
platformer. But
years ago, they were like, we're doing all these like spin-off and like different genre type things within our universe, and maybe they like did all of them already. Like
maybe they didn't. Yeah, because they have the RPG, the pirate
They did.
RPG.
There was quite a bit of them, yeah.
They did the Echo one, which was really cool. So yeah, they did a bunch of them. But anyway, this is Cataclysmo. Looks kind of interesting. If you like tower defense strategy games, give this one a little peek. There's also a game out called Sledders, which I think is what it sounds like. I don't even know if
Hell
this
yeah,
is the
brother.
actual trailer for it, but it looks like some gameplay from it.
That's
Hell yeah, brother.
Nar right
he's
there,
definitely
bro.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of
Alright.
it, the graphics actually look kind of
The
impressive,
physics
but
look great, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
it's
actually
so
does.
random. Yeah. There's somebody out
Um,
there who's like, you know what? I want a snowmobile game.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Why not? You know, why not?
Why
do
not?
they
Yeah.
call
it- game
Hey,
for
no
everything.
hate, no judgments. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know snowmobile lingo. Is that, do they call them sleds? Like, hey, do nice sled? Like, is that,
I
why
sled,
sledders?
bro.
We're probably
I
offending
could pretend like I
somebody
knew
too.
if you wanted me to, but
We're
I
offending a
Yeah.
big group of
Hey,
people
we're-
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
so all the snow.
All the
sledders
Alaskans,
community is really
Alaskans
upset.
and Canadians are mad at me right now. So
Yeah.
sorry,
They're
everybody.
like
But anyway,
photorealistic
Also,
graphics.
call it powder.
Really
Tim, it's called powder, not snow. All right.
oh my bad. Listen, I'm so sorry. I
fresh powder, bro.
don't know these things. Yeah. All right.
Sick
So
of
next
somebody's
up, you
phone.
guys, this is a game that's really out. It's called Yasuke Simulator, and I'm not
No
kidding.
way.
Yes, I've
This
seen
is
this.
such a. You
I've
totally
seen-
made
I've seen
up.
this.
Did you AI
I've seen
generate
this.
this?
I did not, but it's real. It's really
Did they
real.
AI generate this?
No. This game exists. You can go get
Yeah,
it on
it's got
Steam right
lightsabers.
now. It came out on the same day as Assassin's
look
Creed.
at
Yeah.
those shits. There was just no
Dude, they
physics. They just
Cars.
glided.
Like on a rail. Oh my god,
Look-
he's got a
man.
car.
I'm buying this game. I'm in. This might
Yeah.
be better
This
than
is very
Assassin's Creed.
historically accurate. I
A
remember
lot-
this moment in
Dude,
history right here.
A lot of the user reviews are the user reviews alone are worth looking at because it's very fun. Like some of it, yeah, it's bad, but some of it's very funny. Like
Sure.
Ubisoft walked so Yasuke Simulator can run type of quote. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's that type of
Yeah.
it's really good. So that
That's
exists,
something.
you guys. That is
That's something. Yeah.
Oh boy, there's a new Atelier game out, the Atelier Yumia.
Oh man, these
I
games
played
were like
the
big
demo,
back on like the
actually.
3DS like days.
Yeah, so this is
These are-
this
these
is
are
the
like
Switch
dungeon
review.
mapping games, right? Like these are.
I'm not sure. I don't know them too well. I'm not familiar
Oh,
with
there's a
them.
ton. Yeah, there's a crap ton of them. Like more than you'd realize. Like probably upwards of like 20 or something. I could be exaggerating, but
Jesus,
I know it's a
wow.
lot.
It's
So this is
crazy
Nintendo
whenever
Life's
I-
review of it, and
Yeah.
I from what I can tell, people are giving it pretty strong. I think it's in the 80, low 80 average.
There have been 27
most
main
reviews.
games in the Atelier franchise.
It's so crazy. I've played
27?
none of them.
Yeah, and 10 is it subdivided into 10 sub-series, which that's insane.
It looked like action RPG, right, where you had cooldowns on your attacks
So
and stuff.
I played the
That's
demo
what
of
it
this
looked like.
actually at the on the big screen. I played the demo of this. I got anime boobies on the big screen, guys.
I was
alright?
just gonna say,
Oh,
right as you said big screen, it cut to
jiggle-
that
yeah.
clip.
the big old physics. So yeah, it looks good. Or at least the character models look solid. The environments are
Yeah.
kind of like a
It's a little
little
plain.
lacking.
Yeah,
It's
they're a
like
little
the
plain.
kind of like characters look good. Yeah, the environments are a little
You
plain.
you can
The
see it here,
cutscenes
like
are
the
decent.
cliffs, of course, but even the water and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
grass, they keep it really simple so the game can run
yeah.
probably.
Um, Only Japanese VO, which is a bummer. I don't like when RPGs just have Jap because it's like I can watch anime and read the subtitles, but
Mm.
watching and reading and then also fighting or doing something is just that's too much for me.
It's a
So
lot. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need English VO. So that's a bummer. Yeah, the combat's interesting. So basically, like you'll have like one singular enemy like in the middle, and you're actually going around it in a circle, and it's trying to attack you, and it's showing kind of like on the ground where it's going to be attacking, and you kind of like are dodging or parrying and doing kind
Okay.
of different things, and then you have on the each face button you have different attacks, so you try to like combo those attacks to kind of like maximize, taking them out quicker. But then there's
Yeah.
also like I forget what the word they used was, but there was one moment where it was like this is like a group combat, like where three enemies popped up, and they were doing moves at the same time. So I had to find the spot on the ground where they weren't gonna hit me. So like I'm
Mhm.
trying to attack them, but I'm also trying to avoid taking damage.
I
So I have to
see.
stand on this spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because it's not like traditional
But that
turn-based where it's
sounds
just like
kind of
attacking.
intuitive though. Like you could see where attacks were gonna
Yeah.
be or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
totally
cool.
all made sense, and it was different. I'd
Big
be
map.
curious to see how it
Look at that.
evolves over time. So,
It
but
is
yeah,
much
Yeah.
different than the
I was
DS
digging it.
games because the DS games were like
Mhm.
first-person dungeon crawlers again, and there was like a map
Okay.
mechanic where you're like mapping out like
Oh,
you're
I thought that was
pure
the
like
Radiant stories. I thought that's what those were. Now I can't remember what's what
Radiant
anymore.
stories.
Or Radiant.
Yeah, maybe
There's
I'm mixing it
Dang
up.
it.
Radiant Historia.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Radiant
thinking of.
Historia is the DS one. Radiata Stories is the PS2 action RPG.
So these are all separate, and
Um,
I'm just clumping them together in my head. I think.
yes, because
Yeah.
as far as I know, these have all been for the most part traditional turn-based RPGs with heavy emphasis on
Got it.
alchemy. So the whole premise of this series is like you're an alchemist usually.
But
Um,
Kai, what you were saying about the
and
mapping sounds interesting to me. Is that part of this?
I believe it was just part of the 3D, not this one, no, but
The DS
just part of the
ones?
DS games because they had
Okay.
you had the stylus and stuff like that,
Oh,
and you
that's
would just
cool.
like mark things on the map, and maybe a few games use that, but I thought it was this series, but it definitely was a first person like dungeon crawling series, so it is cool to see it do something so different. Like this is almost alien to like what I know of this series, which is very
Yeah.
little to begin with.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so that game is out. Dan, I didn't know you had played
That's cool.
um the demos.
yeah, I
That's
played
cool that
just
you
a
did.
bunch of things, and I remember that demo
I
was
mean,
out. So I was like,
big
oh,
enough where like you grab it on a sale down the line, or like what was kind of like your final takeaway for it?
um, I like I don't know. I am a little nitpicky on the whole English VO thing. I just
That could be. Well,
it is
and
tough
you
for me to
classically have
enjoy
to
an
play the
RPG.
previous 26 games also before you play this
Dude,
one. So
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, obviously, yes, of course.
obviously.
I gotta go. I gotta go to the beginning. I gotta go to the beginning.
gotta go back.
Gotta go back.
Yeah, you're never gonna play an East game ever because there's so many of those too. Like you'll never get to those either.
Yeah.
Honestly, that series, I'm not even that. I know people do like those, but yeah, those
They're-
kind of don't. I don't know. They don't really
Have you played the new ones?
scratch an itch in me. No, I
You,
remember I played a demo
you keep
of one.
telling yourself that, man. You keep telling yourself
Yeah,
that. That's
the new
fine.
ones are
Yeah,
the new ones are like fantastic.
Hmm.
Like 7, 8, and 9 are like I think 10 just came out. They're all wonderful. A
Yeah,
little more action
I know people
RPG.
really enjoy them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's another major new game out that we got to talk about, and it's this one. Xenoblade Chronicles X is out on the Switch right now. It's getting, again, amazing reviews. Not that those matter, but just for some context, people are loving it. And here's how I heard it described. Kyle, tell me if I'm right or wrong on this. I heard it described as this is the open world Transformers game you were hoping for. It's like, oh,
Yeah, yeah. Sadly, you don't get like the mechs until like 40 hours into this game, but yeah, you get there. That happens. Yeah, at
Wow.
some point you'll get
Okay.
there.
Okay. But you
Yeah,
playing this one yet? Have you gotten
yeah,
it?
I'm 2 hours into it, and
Okay.
I apparently don't remember anything about this game, which is wild because like the whole opening of this game, I'm like, what is going on? Like,
Yeah.
because I
Who?
played like
Why?
I played a lot of this game. I got to the mechs, so
Uh huh.
in the original. But this is another game, much like Assassin's Creed, where it's just like the first 2 hours are just kind of you like talking to people. It's just you walking around a giant town and talking to people and setting everything up. So it's just like don't really have a lot to say on this game, sadly, other than uh, and
It looks
when you're
better than it
comparing
used
it,
to,
it looks
right?
better than it used to in comparison
Yep.
to Xenoblade Chronicles. This game, while there is melee fighting, a little more shooty fighting, so like
Okay.
there is a difference in the way that like your character interacts, combat wise and stuff like that. And it is fun, there's a lot of gear, it's an RPG through and through, like it is sadly, I don't feel like we get a lot of high-profile sci-fi RPGs. I think we did at some point, but we just like kind of stopped doing them.
Yeah.
So it's like, go out and buy this if you like sci-fi RPGs, so we get more of them, please. Selfishly, I want more of
Well,
them, so go out
they're
and buy
finally
these.
all on the Switch. Like this game was trapped on the Wii
Yeah.
U, and now
Yeah,
it's not. So we can play
a lot, a
all the
lot of games that were in
Xenoblade
tune for a
games.
while. You can
Oh
play
wait,
all of
is
them
this
now
was this the last Xenoblade game that wasn't on the
on the.
Switch?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
This was on
yeah.
the Wii U, just
Oh.
trapped there on a system that like 15,000 people bought or whatever that number was.
So
I
two
forget.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3, those were Switch exclusives that launched there originally, but the
Yep.
previous ones, the original one and then this
Hmm.
one X,
We're both on the.
those were stuck on the
One
Wii
was
U,
on
right?
Wii. This one was
Uh,
on Wii U. Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. First
I remember they
Xenoblade
did a
Chronicles is Wii.
they did a 3DS version which I actually own, and
I own that
Yes.
I
too.
like that they put it there, but it was kind of ugly. Like
It was
and I'm not
very
trying to
ugly.
say it just wasn't great to look at. This looks way
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, and the first
This
game
gave
that they
me
re-released on the Switch, is also great.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
looks better than it did on the 3DS, if you will. But yeah, this looks a
the
lot better than it
definitive
did on the Wii
edition.
U. Definitive
This
edition,
always
thank you.
gave
Which is what
me
this is called. Yeah.
Xenogears /
Yeah.
Xenosaga vibes because it leans more into that like sci-fi, like that straight up sci-fi element.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and it has a lot of that, like it's sci-fi but fantasy stuff that like Japan likes to do a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is that like the setup for this game is that like two alien species came to Earth and like just wiped us out because they just didn't like us, and we were infants in
Sure.
that fight, as
I
they
don't
say.
blame them.
So they
I don't blame
shot
them.
like who could blame them? So they shot
Dude,
a spaceship like into space to find a new home or whatever, and then you get attacked and like crash land on this planet. So it's just like your little like ship that's like
Our Star Ocean reminds me of
sci-fi,
Star
and then
Ocean.
everything else about the world is kind of
very
fantastical.
fantasy.
Yeah.
This looks so impressive. Like some of the character models, I thought,
It's
oh, okay, that looks
insane.
okay.
Yeah.
But now I'm seeing
Yeah, the
this when
character
you're out in the
models are
world.
not a lot of detail, but where they put the detail is like in the world. I mean, yeah, it is a very
The
Holy
it's
scale
smokes.
of
very
these
cool.
games are bananas. Like I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know how they make these games on the Switch and it's bananas.
And the one city that you have in this game, at least at the beginning, it's big. It's big enough for you to get lost in. And look at the scale. These are just guys out there. Like I love these
Yeah.
games because like you're like this is the very beginning of the games you're seeing big guys like this. You're like, well, I'm not gonna fight that. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna hit
Yeah.
that right now. So I like that. I'm still trying to figure out how to get that little red line going. I don't think it's been
So it's
introduced
got
to
a
me
really
yet.
cool like open world element to it, right? You're exploring, you're discovering
Very open world.
landmarks,
Yeah.
you're opening up the map as you go.
Well, yeah. So
Dude,
that's another cool thing
this
is
looks
that
cool.
it's like kind of like Star Trekky a little bit. Yeah, look at that. There's your Transformers. Kind of Star Trekky a little bit, and what I mean by that is that like you're kind of leaving like your area to go out into the world and explore
Yeah.
and scan and get used to like what's going on in this world. So there's just a little bit of like there's a little bit of that going on as well, where
Hmm.
you're Mass Effect Andromeda, if you will. I guess is a better parallel, where like you're
I
landing on a
gotcha.
planet or you landed on this planet, and then we need to figure out what's on this planet, and that feeds into the exploration. It's just I don't know, it feels good. It looks like they streamlined some of the stuff about the combat. The combats in these series are unique. I don't know if I love them. I don't think I ever loved them, but like they get the job done, and it is unique, and it's unlike anything that you've done in any other game. I
Mm,
just don't know if I'm always like I'm kind of an old school turn-based guy, so if like you want to, I don't need all the frills and stuff like that, but it is good.
hmm.
But some of the obtuse natures about the original game they've kind of streamlined. So that's
Nice.
good. I
Dude, you
make it a
can
little
fly
easier.
around in a mech and fight in that thing. You can
Yeah,
shapeshift into a car, and then you can hop out on foot.
Look at this guy. I mean, look at what's going on with this guy.
awesome.
You know?
Yeah,
this combat's just great in
So
this.
I picked up Assassin's Creed, and apparently I had to pay it off. I thought I actually owed a decent amount, and then I remembered this came out, so I was like, oh, you know what? Let me grab this also.
Did you grab it?
Grabbed it?
Whoa, he's playing new
'cause I have,
games, new old games.
Well, I haven't booted it up yet because we did just
Sure, yeah, you bought it though. That's a big step.
But I did buy, yeah. Because I was like, oh, I definitely want to have this because I want all the Xenoblade games. That way, I actually
Look at
physically
that.
own them.
Yeah,
they're gonna be
yeah.
worth,
And
like,
this is a good one to jump
$300.
into. You don't have like again,
they are,
you don't
you're
have
right.
a lot of the baggage from like again like
Yeah.
needing to play all three of the first games, or all three of the
Which
other
is
games.
insane, by the way, to think about, Kyle, because they made Xenoblade Chronicles, and then they did this, right, which was like a spin-off, and then they went into 2 and 3, all insanely massive games, huge games, and
With
then you
totally
have all these other
different
studios,
worlds.
that
all in the time since GTA 5 has come out and Rockstar has come out GTA 6.
right. So it's kind of crazy
all
to
in
think
that
about.
same time frame,
Yeah.
It is crazy.
It's crazy to
They have to be one of the best developers working in a way where like they choose to work on this limited hardware, which like blows my mind. Like imagine if we just let them make a PS5 game, like,
dude,
it'd be awesome.
Like Unreal Engine 5. Imagine this in Unreal Engine 5. Like,
whatever project they're working on for Switch 2 it has to be incredible. Hope it's the sequel to this or something. That'd be sick.
I hope it looks
just want
worse.
more sci-fi games.
I hope it's
more
ugly
sci-fi RPGs. I hope it's brown and gray. I hope we revisit the old era of brown and gray only games from the 360
The old brown and grays, yes.
Remember the old brown and gray?
I
just
do
everything
indeed.
as far as the eye can see looks like Gears of War.
That's right.
The old and poops. Old and poops.
Old and poops. That's right. Yeah. So this one looks. I mean, come on. It just looks so good. So yeah, those are. Yeah, those are the new games that are out, and I am curious now that you've got it too, Dan. As you both get a chance to play it more, what do you think about it? I want to hear more about this game because I'm on the fence. I have purchased Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition 2 and 3. I have finished none of those, but I've played a lot of. I haven't played a lot of 3. I played a little bit of 3, but I've played a lot of 2 and a lot of Definitive Edition, and I think they're both excellent. So, but then I tried to go back to them when I put them down, that's the biggest mistake.
Yeah.
Because then I tried to play them again, and I was like, I don't know.
To like returners, they're not. I mean, like it's just again, even the combat system is like, if I took a week break from Xenoblade 3, like there'd be an hour of me being like, how did I forget so much in 6 days? Like it's like,
what does this
now,
mean?
now think about that. Now think about 6 months. Like where it's like.
And this is why we need the Phil Spencer Xbox AI to help me. Hey, catch me up on what I did last time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Explain it to me, please, robot.
That's what we need. Hey, a couple things I thought that you guys would find interesting, just headlines wise, especially as we joke around about playing new games versus playing old games. Like, yeah, Dan bought a new game by surprise this past week, but it's actually an old game, Xenoblade Chronicles X. So old games are the thing.
Shadows is new, all right? Shadows is new.
There's a new industry report that came out talking about PC gamer playtime from the data they had available. And 2/3 of it was on games that are at least 6 years old. So let's say that one more time.
Wow.
2/3 of PC playtime that they could track was on 6 years or older games. So that's 2019 or earlier. And that's 2/3 of the playtime. So that's a lot. And I think you kind of hear that as we talk about, hey, what are you playing? What are you spending time playing? Yes, we'll dive into the new stuff when we get it and it just kind of clicks for us, of course. But we'll spend a lot of time. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, I saw my hour count. It's embarrassing. I think I spent 140 hours just on this playthrough. That wasn't like combined from old playthroughs. That was just since I played it whenever it was, starting in November or something through last
month. Bare minimum, though. 140 hours, that's like bare minimum.
That's nothing. Yeah,
it's like
let's
it's a drop in the bucket.
Gen Z or what their Fortnite numbers are, and let's compare.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
absolutely. But like when you think about like for a replay, if nothing else, you'd think I'd almost be quicker going through it. But it was the same thing with Spider-Man when I replayed on PC. I took my time. So anyway, I thought that was interesting, and I think we can relate to that.
Is this a new, like, I mean, for me, I feel like it's new that, like, I feel like as I get older, I'm getting a little more nostalgic, and I do want to go back and play older games. And I don't like, whereas like I used to kind of just play a game once and just like move on and like never play them ever again, except for like if you were called Metal Gear Solid or something like that. So I don't know. Like, is that new for you, Tim, or have you always kind of found yourself returning back to stuff? And you too, Dan. Like, did y'all?
I think I have wanted to, but haven't usually made the time to. Because when I do have limited time to game, I'm like, I gotta play the new stuff. I want to be able to talk about the new stuff. I think that's been relatively new in the last couple of years. That I'm like, or this is me talking to
Yeah.
myself. This is my inner dialogue. Or just play what you want to play so you can have fun during this minimum amount of gaming time you have. And I'm like,
Supposed to be
oh, that's a
fun
good
time,
idea.
not work
You know,
time.
yeah, exactly. So,
I like
so
I like
trying to balance those things.
diving into the new things. Yeah, I'm similar to Tim because like I at least over the with doing the podcast too, like playing the new things, like being excited about new games, but then also wanting to talk about the new things. But there's definitely been pockets, here and there where it's like, oh, all right, well, there's not really anything at the moment that so that's when
It feels nice in
like
bookend for
last
me,
year,
where it's
right?
like, yeah, right. Last year, all of us were playing old stuff, but yeah, it feels like when
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
you grow up as a kid, like you're only playing old stuff and replaying stuff and
Of
yada yada,
course.
and then you get kind of money and you start playing like only new stuff, and then we're all old and nostalgic now, and now we're like, I want to play Red Dead again, or I want to play Mass Effect again, or I want to I want to go back and.
Like
But I know some
I'm gonna
gamers are
throw
just like big repeaters, also. Like
Yep.
some
I'm
gamers
gonna
just
throw
love
out a
it all.
word at you guys. I'm curious if you've ever heard of this game, Yipe. Are you familiar with Yipe?
Mm-mm.
That doesn't ring a
No?
bell.
Okay.
No.
It randomly just in my head the other day, just like nostalgia, intense nostalgia of this old PC game that I remember like in middle school being in the computer lab and some kid had it on a floppy disk. Yes, that's right, kids. A floppy disk. Go Google
Floppy
I don't even
floppy
know
disk.
what
disk
that
if you
word
don't know what
means. Do
that
you mean
is.
the save icon? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
Which, by the
physical
way,
floppy
to
disk.
this day, it bothered me when I was a kid. Bothers me now that those are actually not floppy. You know what I mean? Like they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
They're
You
like
can't flop them.
Tim,
solid.
Tim,
Yeah.
you weren't flopping hard enough. You weren't flopping hard
No, they're
enough.
not flop. You were breaking yours, Dan.
You broke yours were broken in half.
I was
Now
just
Yours were
flopping,
I
not
remember
flopping them.
I remember the older ones that were bigger that actually were bendy, and I thought
Oh,
those were
sure,
floppy
sure, yeah.
disks. But then
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
actual smaller ones that have the hard plastic that you could kind of pull
Right.
back the little sleeve
Yep.
and kind of
Yep.
see
Yep.
the
Yep.
disc
Yep.
that's in there. Yeah. Anyway,
Good
But
times.
yeah, that like popped in my head the
I
other
know.
day, and I was like, I want to play Yipe 3. So like and you can buy it. Like it still works on modern
Look at that.
Windows. Like it goes into
Yipe.
compatibility mode. But yeah, like I just this wave of nostalgia hit me, and I was like, oh yeah, Yipe. I don't know why. I don't know what triggered that memory, but like I downloaded it and I was just like I was playing it, and it's super grindy. Like it's incredibly grindy. But it just I don't know. It was like a warm blanket. I was just like, oh, I remember
I
this.
love
I
it.
remember this
That's
game.
awesome.
Just yeah, it was just hitting a certain itch. So that was it was old game, 20 plus years
That's
old.
awesome.
Well, the third one
Yeah.
is not 20 plus years old, but yeah.
Yeah,
I wish
the
I could have
memories.
that data though for myself. Like how much time did I spend, for example, just last year on old games versus new? And I know it was older because I spent a lot of time playing. I went back to Valheim when they released some DLC that you could argue if that
Yeah.
doesn't count as old, but whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but I did spend a lot of time playing base Valheim as well with the new content too. So definitely No Man's Sky. I spent a lot of time replaying that. Replayed both Red Dead
Yeah.
Redemptions 1 and 2. Put a ton of time into both of those and absolutely loved it. And I'm sure there's others that I'm blanking out on. Like I kept going back to revisiting some of these, older games while still
This is why
peppering in the new ones that I was interested in.
this is why I don't mind the pockets of time of like not a new thing coming out. Like just
Yeah,
give me
I'm
a
okay when.
you know
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
like an anime break where it's like, oh, there's nothing coming out for
yeah
3 months. I guess I'll like really get into anime again.
yeah
Like,
yeah
but we don't
absolutely.
get those pockets very often. So
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Yeah, right now we haven't had one for a minute. Like I feel like I've had
no,
a lot of new
December
games.
like December was the last time I remember like not coming out every week. Because that's when I was like watching lots of anime and stuff like that. You had Indiana
Yeah.
Jones, like that's the only thing I can remember.
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Yeah,
What a good game. Hey, you guys need to play that game. It's really good.
I need to play more of it. Yeah, I need to jump back into it.
You need to finish it, man. You'll love it. And I think you also know that you'll love it, so you don't feel the pressure to play it because you'll play it when you're
Yeah,
ready to
same.
play
Yeah,
it.
I absolutely. Yeah, I know I'm not missing out on it because there's no way I'm not gonna not finish it. So
Yeah. Don't forget that the Xbox Game Pass lineup for the rest of this month includes that game Atomfall. It comes out on the same day. It's a week from now, actually, on the
Jesus
27th.
Christ.
Same day as as what's the first Berserker Kazan? They both come out on the same day.
Oh,
Atomfall
yes.
and the first Berserker Kazan.
I
So
like the demo of that.
yeah. Also, Lego Pokemon has been officially confirmed, and it's coming next year.
I didn't hear about this.
More
That's
reasons
awesome.
to make
Lego
money. They need the money,
Pokemon.
guys. They need the money.
I don't know if that's. I hope that's the game. All I saw was the announcement. Lego Pokemon is official, so I hope that's a game and not just Lego sets. If it's Lego sets, that's fine. We might
I
get one or
think I
two. My
saw
kids are really into
like
Legos.
an
but-
actual physical Pikachu Lego like tail. So I think
Okay,
it
maybe
is
that's
just
what it
sets.
is. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
give me a Pokemon Lego game though. You know what I mean? Like, give me. A game.
Yeah, that sounds. That'd be fun.
If that's not what it
Could
is,
be
that's
interesting.
that's fine. But I would totally play it.
That could be interesting. Yeah.
Dan, I know you're a big fan of making them roller coasters on your amusement park games. So if you wanted to try Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, it is on Xbox and PS5 now. Apparently they've cleaned up some of the issues with it, and it's out now.
Cool.
But no, it is
Pretty
an
rad.
old game. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 is old, but it is now out on Xbox and PS5. All right. Phil Spencer is promising more movies and TV shows based on Xbox games, and it's learned on each production it's worked on. He says. So we got the
Which
Minecraft
production
Halo
movie.
worked out really well.
We got the Minecraft movie on the way.
Oh,
We
okay.
got. And by the way, I watched the trailer for it.
What did you
I'm
do?
si-
Did you? Like,
I'm sitting there thinking, this looks horrible. I don't want to see this, right?
yes.
But like kids who play Minecraft are like, this looks fun, like yay! And I was like, oh gosh, you can't live here anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You're not my kid.
Get out of my
You're not my
house.
kid.
Get out.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's not meant for me. That's another harsh reality. Like that
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
isn't made for
But
me.
you know, there was a time where things not meant for you or parents, like there would still be something for them.
Thank
you. Know
you.
what I mean?
Yes, you're
You know what
right.
I
I'm
mean?
gonna stay
Like,
mad. I needed that. I needed to hear
think
that.
I
Yeah.
feel like I need to push you into the realm of being mad. Still,
I'm
so.
back mad again. Thank you for
Yeah,
saying
They
that.
need to
I-
take a
I-
page out of the Shrek movies, right? The Shrek movies did
Yeah,
that really
yeah.
well.
I just feel like even like I remember like watching the very first Pokemon movie. There were like multiple jokes in there that I didn't get until like years later. You know, like
Oh,
where
nice.
they
Like the
were directly-
anime movies, like the original
yeah,
anime
yeah,
movies.
the
Okay.
original anime movies that went to theaters, and it's like they're like these
Yeah,
jokes
yeah,
are
yeah.
for parents, you know, like for the parents
Yeah.
who were dragged here against their will to watch dumb animals fight each other, you know.
But you know what? Recent video game movie adaptations have really worked for me. Like the Super Mario Brothers movie
It's true.
really worked for me.
Same.
All three Sonic movies that have their absolutely cheesy cringe moments, I still love those
Sure.
movies. They're really
I
fun.
really like Detective Pikachu, and I really
Detective
walked
Pikachu
in
was
going.
Yeah.
great.
I really walked in
Yeah.
going, I'm gonna burn this to the ground. Like I really did. Like I
It
wouldn't
was
listen to
what a
anybody.
fun movie.
And I walked out. I go,
It was
yeah,
fun. It was.
It was
It was a fun
Yeah.
movie.
I like it a lot.
It's
So
pretty
yeah,
alright.
you're right. I need to stop giving things a pass
No,
when they're because
Minecraft,
they're
like
not
there should
targeting
be
me.
something like
Yeah.
you know what Minecraft is. You're part of video gaming. You know, like you.
It's true.
You're. And
Hey,
I don't know. There should be
Hey,
something.
I hope
that
it's
should be
Minecraft-
I hope it's just so good that we're all just shocked. You know what I mean? Like I hope it's just so
Yeah.
good
Jack
because it looks
Black wins
weird.
an Oscar, you know.
we know.
It looks weird. It's not gonna be good.
Like,
Yeah,
why
you're
is
right.
Jason Momoa wearing like a MILF like jacket? She's
Why
got like
does his
this
hair look
fluffy
like
like milfy like.
There's a lot about
jacket
him in that
on,
movie that
like-
makes me go, why? Why are you? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Remember
what
when he
is
was
going
Khal
on with-
Drogo? I don't want to talk about it. I don't. Let's move on.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want
Oh,
to
how
talk
the mighty have fallen.
Remember when Donna from Parks and Rec goes, all the guys on that show can get it. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
Of course, they
It's
talk about
Rocky
Halo
and-
series. Technically, you've got Fallout, which is a Microsoft-owned IP,
The Halo
right? At this
series,
point,
right.
so you have Halo, you have
The Halo
Fallout.
series, which
So
is doing really well on Netflix despite getting canceled like a year ago. So it's finding like a really big.
Oh, is
reception
it on
Netflix
Netflix?
right
Halo's on Netflix, really?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hmm,
Okay.
Interesting. So apparently he didn't really announce anything new, but he says that they feel like they've been improving and learning over time with each production as they collaborate with these studios that are producing these things. So whatever, Phil, he likes to spin a yarn, so can't take that away from
Spinning.
him. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I feel like they've learned nothing from any of the shows that you just mentioned, just FYI. Like, Halo that they canceled, and Minecraft that looks like shit, and, I'm like, what are you
Kyle,
talking
they
about?
learned how to spend.
Yeah,
They learned how to spend
what did
millions of
what, they
dollars.
learn not to do those again? Like, is that the lesson? I don't know.
Yeah,
You're so right.
Whatever,
That's
I'm
a
sorry.
good. No, you're right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Kyle, they
Hey,
learned
Star
that
Wars.
if you spend $100 million on a show and it doesn't work out, then don't do that. So
Yeah,
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that anymore.
They learned that you show Master Chief's butt cheeks in a TV show that people will lose their minds. That's what they learned. Yeah.
Yep.
That's not my Master Chief.
My Master Chief doesn't have sex with main character women.
My Master Chief doesn't have ass cheeks.
He doesn't. He's asexual and barely talks.
That's where he stores extra clips for his guns. Get those out of here.
Cheek clips.
So I know this happens a lot, and we don't always hear about it because there's so many kind of live service games that come and go, and some of them we might not have even heard of before, and they're gone already. Like, I know that happens, but when it's a notable one, it's worth highlighting. Star Wars Hunters is going to get shut down already. Just launched in December.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. In December.
Wow.
And Zynga says players will not be getting refunds or any season
Wasn't this
passes.
come out on Steam also? Wasn't this about to
microtransactions.
come out to other consoles too? Like, that's funny.
So good question.
Wah, wah.
It is on. It's just on Nintendo Switch and mobile. You're right. It's just on Nintendo Switch and mobile.
I think it was about to hit Steam in like a month or something like that.
Oh no, it didn't come out December. That was Marvel Rivals. It came out last summer. So
yeah, but still, it's not a year. It didn't even make it. Made it 9 months.
It won't. It'll be a 9-month run, and then it's going to be. The
That's
final
crazy.
content update is out on April 15th. And then there's going to be no more support, and then all servers will be turned off on October 1st. So we'll have made it over a year by the time it's over.
I didn't play it, so I don't know if it was any good. But like, it didn't look good. So I don't.
It definitely didn't get the same parade of affection that Marvel Rivals did. And then, of course, Marvel Rivals also got so much money made by that game.
Yeah, this definitely was a Switch game, so that's for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's pretty much everything. I'm just glancing through to see if there's any other headlines that I missed. Yeah, we talked about this other stuff last week. I don't know if we mentioned this. This only one that jumped out to me that was from last week. That analysts are predicting that Nintendo Switch 2 will cost more than $400, which
I heard the new number is 500 now because of like the chip that they're using or something like that.
Yeah, so it's not first of all, it's not super surprising. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, new consoles cost $500. That's what they like. In my mind, that's where I go, and then I look back and I'm like, oh, the Switch was $300 at launch, and it's still
the
$300
Steam Deck is
like,
$400. So it's like
Yeah.
you're overselling your direct competition. I still think it's gonna be 400. I know analysts.
I think
are
it'll be
saying something
4.
different. I think it'll be 4.
I think it'll be 4. Yeah.
I don't think it comes into market over the Steam Deck unless it has an OLED screen immediately. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't see that at all. I just don't see it happening. Yeah. Could be wrong.
Well,
though.
also
I don't
a
know.
PlayStation 5 is still 500, right? So then it's the same price as a machine that's more powerful.
That is more powerful.
That's a good
that
point.
doesn't make any sense. But yeah, again, like I know they can lean into it's a hybrid, so like there's a little more going on in this one, so that's what justifies the price. But like I know the justification in these like reports are saying because of this chip or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think Nintendo. They have never overpriced themselves, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever have.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that, because we're supposed to get it here in about 2 weeks. We're supposed to get a direct where we get a lot more info.
Oh my god, that's happening soon. Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, it's like April. Is it 4th? It's coming up soon. It's in a couple weeks.
Second.
The second.
If it's April 1st, I'm gonna laugh really hard.
Yeah, it's
I'm like,
after
April Fool.
I was gonna say
fooled us.
they,
like,
they,
just
they
kidding.
went the day
We're not
after.
coming out with the Switch 2. You're gonna be stuck with the Switch forever. It's like shit. They got
This is our
us.
very last
Nintendo got us again. Ugh, those guys. All right, well, that's it for new stuff and for headlines. Why don't we wrap it up with things that we are currently playing and watching? Sometimes I go last. I'll kick it off first since there's not a lot that I haven't already told you guys about. Playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, of course. On the recent sale, I got pretty much all the Power Wash Simulator DLC because I'm a loser. And it's super fun. I did all the
winner to me, buddy.
I did. I'm sorry. I think it was like there's like 5 different packs. They all normally cost like $8 per pack.
Did you get the Final Fantasy one?
That one was free. I already had that one. Yeah. So I had
awesome.
Tomb Raider and Final. So I cleaned out Dan, what's the name of the bar? the heaven.
Seventh Heaven.
Yeah, Seventh Heaven. Is it Seventh Heaven? Is that what it's called? Like the TV show?
Like the
Like
TV
Seventh
show?
Heaven? Huh?
Isn't that?
Okay.
Wait. Was this TV
You
show
would
Seventh
know.
Heaven?
You're the. Do not let us doubt you. Yeah. You would know. You're
Yeah,
the fan.
Seventh.
But yeah,
Seventh Heaven.
my
Yeah.
brain goes to the TV show. Yeah.
I just saw the
Yeah, it's
TV
Seventh
show, and then
Heaven.
I thought about how
I
like the
forgot
dad
the
from the
show
TV
was
show
called
turns
that.
out he was a horrible person.
Was
Like,
Seventh
remember
Heaven
that?
TV show
A
huge Final
pedophile. A
Fantasy fan?
pedophile. Yeah.
Yeah, like the dad from that show was like a horrific person. Okay. Anyway,
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
yeah, super
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Thanks,
yeah.
guys. Yay.
Really light-
Okay,
light-
so let's get back to power washing. So I finished the SpongeBob ones. If you ever watch that, it's very like kind of cute and fun and silly, and they actually use the SpongeBob looking art, and like even the gun you have and the
Yeah.
outfit you have on, it's SpongeBob themed. So it's just fun. It's just silly. And you're cleaning like the chum bucket and the restaurant and Patrick's house, and it's just all silly and
Aren't
fun.
you all underwater in SpongeBob?
And it's all underwater, so you shouldn't have to power wash it. But
Don't throw logic at it. Don't throw logic at it.
that's the kind of question that'll get you kicked off. Okay,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I saw everyone's rage, and I'm gonna back off.
Yeah. And then I did the Back to the Future one, which was really fun, cleaning the DeLorean and the clock tower and Doc's van and the train and all that stuff. It's a good time. And then I am just now about to finish doing all of the Warhammer 40K stuff, which is just
Wow.
big fat mechs and tanks, and it's all grimy and just filthy. And
the
you're
Emperor,
usually
man.
in some kind of like temple, like one of the Warhammer looking kind of temples with candles everywhere, but it's like one of those technical looking temples where it's got gears and metal everywhere, and it just looks
my
cool,
language.
man. It just looks really cool. The art on it looks really good. And then the other ones that I'll still play that I have, it's like Alice in Wonderland, Wallace and Gromit, and I think there might be one other one. But anyway, it's just a good time doing some power washing. You know, I like it. I like it. And as far as I feel like there was one other thing I'm playing. Let me see if I'm forgetting something. I did get a bunch of stuff on sale. I got stuff like a bunch of little mini games, like old PopCap games, like Bejeweled and Peggle and Zuma. They had like a combo for all these little games. So I grabbed those so I could play them on my Steam Deck. Those are kind of
Peggle's
fun.
pretty fun. That one's pretty fun.
Yeah. And dude, their downloads, they're like 15 megabyte downloads. It's hilarious.
yeah.
Like they're
They're not
tiniest
like
little
massive games
downloads.
at all.
Spiritfarer was on a really steep sale, so I didn't have that on Steam, so I grabbed that one in case I ever want to go back to it. And then I got the game from the Mini Shoot Adventures devs. It was called Swords and Souls, and I had never played it before. It's a funny looking
What kind
little
of game
RPG, so I grabbed that. It looks like a turn-based RPG, a little bit like side-scrolly at times. But yeah, it's like a turn-based RPG. Looks fun. Looks lighthearted.
You are sold
Yeah,
me
Mini
already?
Shoot was great.
Swords and Soul.
Swords and Souls. Yeah,
Never
Swords and Souls.
seen. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Last but not least, hey, I just got to give a shout out to my people. And by my people, I mean any of us who were raised in a Christian setting where you learned stories like David and Goliath. I tried out this Prime show. My parents are in town visiting. I just, for the record, I usually kind of cringe at most Christian or Bible-based productions because they're usually worth cringing at, sadly. And I think there's so many incredible stories and things to tell. It's been kind of cool to watch the success of something like Chosen. I haven't watched it, but I know it's really popular. People love it. I guess the production value and acting is way better than usual. People love that show. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. That Chosen is super popular.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, apparently it's like a really high. Again, I don't know where the bar is being set. Maybe it's not that great, and it's just because the bar has been set so low. I don't know. I'm just trying to be really fair. I've heard it's great, but anyway, we were on looking on Prime for something to watch with my folks, and we fired up this new show that's on Prime right now called House of David. So it's a story of young, you guys have heard the story of David and Goliath, and it's kind of him as a young shepherd boy and how he kind of like becomes the hero of the Old Testament or whatever. And so, so far it's not bad. Like I thought I would be sitting there on my phone going, oh my gosh, and this is so embarrassing, but I am kind of liking it. They're really expanding on things that they're not in the Bible. It doesn't tell you, like, here's one example. It doesn't say anywhere in the Bible that David is a bastard son. It just says who his father is, and that he has all these brothers. So in the show, they decide, hey, let's make him an outcast because he's the only kid from this other woman. And so now his brother's kind of, so he introduced this concept of him kind of being an outcast. And little things like that have created really interesting relationships with all the other characters. So I like it, man. I think it's pretty good. So to any of you out there who are curious about it, I think they're trying to follow in the mold that Game of Thrones set up a mold for so many swords and sandals shows that are out there to try to build like political intrigue and backstabbing. And let's cut to this character who's kind of like morally gray and this character who's super evil. Like and let's just follow all these storylines. They're doing that. And so
Oh,
they're
cool.
trying to do that. And I think it's pretty interesting. So anyway, wanted to give it a shout out because usually they're easy targets. Christian productions are just easy targets. I'll be the first one to say it. As a Christian myself, I'm usually like, oh, please don't make another one. You know, that's usually where I am, and so I'm just happy that it's well made. So
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's great. It's not going to win any awards, but it is pretty well made. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah. And my parents, of course, are loving it. They're like, oh, this is so good.
This is the most high quality.
Only one or two comments of like, I don't think that's in scripture, but that's okay. You know, we're kind of like, that's okay. Let's keep going.
You know what? Forget. Just go. You know, you just go and confess your
Let's
sins.
just keep moving.
You know?
Yeah. Let's just keep moving. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So that's what I've been playing and watching, and I'm about to head out on a trip. One of the reasons we're recording early, and I've got my Steam Deck loaded and ready to go. I'm gonna see if Assassin's Creed Shadows works, but if not, I got all these other little games, stuff like Keep Driving we talked about last week, and Suikoden 1 and 2 Remaster. I've got plenty to occupy me during any downtime on that time away. So, Kai, what about you? What have you been playing or watching?
You mentioned Spiritfarer. I too grabbed that.
Yeah, good sale for that one.
Yeah. I put like 5 hours into it, like in one sitting, and I was just like, oh yeah, I like this game. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
It's such a sweet
coziest
little game.
game ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I think it's got the best animation of any game I think I've ever seen of that type of ilk. You know, it's got some of the best music in that entire genre.
Beautiful game. Yeah.
The loop is perfect. I think it's perfect in terms of like there's not too much grindy. You know, like
it's not asking a lot of you, right?
Yeah, it's not asking a lot of you, absolutely. And everything feels like important. Like I just like it's like I never want to waste time. I need to get my boat moving. I need to be planting my crops. I need to be doing all this stuff. That game is so fantastic. It was such a 10 out of 10 game. And I picked up a lot of stuff on Steam sale as well that I'll probably never play. Like Final Fantasy 13 was like $3. Does not even work. When you load it up, it doesn't even work. So that's fun. Thank you for that.
But hey, $3 though, right? It's only $3.
$3.
Sure,
yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Square Enix, come on. You know.
They're like, would you like to pay $3 to make your library look a little bit bigger? There you go. This is how you do that.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to complete your Final Fantasy collection, right? It's like, yeah, I guess.
Sure.
I also picked up Pathfinder, which I've heard a lot about over the years. Really nice CRPG that's supposed to be really good. That was like $3 as well, so I grabbed that. I don't know if I'll ever play it, you know. And another game called Wayfinder, which like was an MMO, but it didn't work out, so they turned it into like a dungeon crawler.
That was out last year, right? It was pretty recent.
Yeah. Apparently, like the whole thing turned around. Like it was getting really bad reviews, and now it's getting like mostly positive reviews. And
I feel like people are having a good time with that one. Yeah, I want to try that.
They abandoned the MMO like aspect of it and turned it into a co-op dungeon crawler. And like apparently, and I don't know if I'll ever play it, but like it was like $10, so I picked it up. So
nice.
Outside of that, I'm stuck on Dynasty Warriors Origins. You're getting shelved. I've never been stuck in a Dynasty Warrior game ever.
Is it a boss? Is it a level?
Yeah, it's Lu Bu. It's that asshole. It's the greatest warrior in Chinese history, and he just is
that guy.
Dark Souls boss levels of hard. So I'll need to grind, which I just don't want to do right now. So I'll play that later whenever like DLC comes out or something like that. I'll come back to that. I'm just too into Assassin's Creed and Xenoblade right now, so a little too busy. Watching wise, Invincible wrapped up. Great show. I don't know. I didn't love season 2 as much as everybody else did. I thought season 3 was some of the best superhero content out there. It's so outstanding, so good. Jeffrey Dean Morgan comes and plays a character against the guy who plays Glenn, who's like the main character in Invincible. It's just a nice role reversal, I'll say, where the actors kind of getting revenge on each other for things that their characters have done to each other. So nice little poetic cycle there. And the other thing, I just started Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 because season 3 just started.
Okay.
Dan, I'm locking in that you really like big dramatic fights, and I know you tried this anime before. Push through it. These are the best fights
Yeah.
that have ever been made ever.
I don't know if I was just like I don't know if I was just distracted in that first
It's not you.
episode
It wasn't,
or
dude.
like
It
or
took
if
me
I was
3 times.
tired like
It's not you.
Okay.
It took me 3 times to get into the show. It took me multiple times, and and then because like all my buddies were talking about it. I'm like, I'm like, again, shonen, another popular anime. Shonen and popular anime, hard sells for me. You know, like I already kind of have my shonen anime that I watch. You know, so
See, not for me though. Not for me. It's not.
not for you, yeah. But
Dan's
like,
already in. Yeah.
You'll where it goes. I'm telling, it's Mappa. It's that studio, the greatest animators in the biz, and I'm telling you, it's the
Mappa's
best
pretty
fights
solid,
you'll
yeah.
ever see in any anime. Period. You gotta watch it.
That's the
buddy.
thing,
And if
because
you
like
love
I would see clips of like certain fights, and I'd be like, "This is I need this. I need this in my
Yeah.
life." But then I watched that first episode, and I was just like, kind of like, "Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. I mean,
I would say the first like 6 episodes are kind of like, all right, what's going on in this? Just get
what are
through
you
them, man.
doing?
Yeah, get through them. That show really takes off, and I think like this is something
Yeah.
that I could see you chiming in every week, going like, "Oh my god, like this thing happened, and it was so
What are you
ridiculous, and
doing?
yada yada." So 'cause
I
that's what
love
I'm doing
anime
right now.
fights,
I'm
dude.
like running up to my roommate and being like, "You were right. Oh my god, let's go."
Just shaking them.
Yeah,
like,
shaking him. Why did you not tell me it was this good? You know.
That's amazing.
So, anyways, that's all the stuff I'm doing right now.
Nice. Now, before we go to Dan, we forgot to mention, Kyle, both of us. I finished Split Fiction, and you made it a long way through Split Fiction.
Yeah, I got further into that. I'm
with
sorry.
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff and I played a little more of that, and I'm telling you, I don't think, you know, I cry laugh when I'm playing this game, like just because Jeff and I are always screwing with each other. We're always like sabotaging each other, or just like digging our
Saboteur.
heels in, and just really playing around in the sandboxes they create. And I just really wish people would pick up that we want co-op games. I really wish developers would pick up on that more. Because what an experience this is to share with somebody.
Yep. Yeah, we finished it actually the day after we recorded last episode. My son and I finished it, and actually it might have been 2 days, but anyway, we finished it shortly after that, and it is everything I said about it stands. I think it's absolutely incredible. I think it's visually gorgeous. I like the characters. I was listening to some podcasts where they're kind of bashing on the dialogue and characters a bit, and I'm not here to say that they are like Oscar worthy, but I think they're good and compelling and interesting and fun. I'm not sure where the criticism about the characters and writing is coming from, but
I feel like I've only heard that from GameScoop too, so maybe they're just being a little.
Maybe that's the show I was listening to. I had a whole bunch of
Yeah.
them on this week, and that was one of them. I was like, what?
They all kind of piled on where they're all like, yeah, the writing's kind of bad. I'm like, I'm not clocking that, but I'm also not like here for the writing either.
Right. Well, I remember a couple times as my son and I are like watching it, we were like, "Oh, that was really well like done, like written or acted or whatever." I thought there was some.
I
pretty
laugh
compelling
at a lot of stuff they say
moments.
to each other. Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
revelations. They dig deep in some of the characters. You know, like
They
there's
do.
stuff happening. It's not just like a bombardment of like sensory stuff
Yeah.
going on. Like there's a written story happening here. And by the way, this is the studio that did like Brothers Two. Like this is a
Oh my
studio that
gosh.
does story. A Way Out. Like these are stories like that were.
I
told
thought it was
pretty
a really well
so-
done story. Now, one
I don't
criticism
think this
could
one
be
did,
that
but,
like they're not really experiencing stories they wrote as much as settings they've created. Okay, kinda. I see what you mean by that, I suppose, but whatever, man. I thought it was excellent. It's like a 10 out of 10 game for me. I had a blast start to finish, and the final sequence is so epic and so visually like knock your socks off, and it's just really, really good. The whole final thing, you kind of see it coming, but it's still really cool the way they do it. Man, I love it. So
Did you see those
I had a blast
kids
with it.
Did you see
Go
those
ahead.
kids who won the sweepstakes? Who found the Easter egg and got a free trip to Sweden? So he didn't announce this, but like there's a
I heard
level
something
in the
about it, but I don't
game
know anything about it.
where it's like they're calling it like the laser maze or something like that.
Laser,
and,
yeah,
like,
okay. I heard this. What is
yeah,
this?
and like it's just like it's not even a side quest. It's just like it's something you kind of have to find via an Easter egg, and then it's this like the hardest platforming thing to ever exist ever, and someone just beat it.
Oh.
2 people, excuse me, just beat it like yesterday or something like that.
Because you got to platform together to get through these levels.
And when they beat it, Joseph Ferris came up like in the game, was like, "Congratulations, you're the first person to do this. You win a free trip to Sweden." And it's real, like they're actually get to fly out to Sweden and like get to see the new game that they're working on. So
That's awesome.
yeah, he hid that. He didn't promote it or anything. It was just this thing he baked into the game. What a
That is
crazy
really
dude.
cool.
He's so crazy.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
Yeah, so we had a blast
That
with it.
dude's nuts.
Credits rolled on it, and we both just kind of sat back like, man, what a ride. What a cool game. You know, it's
Gaming's
great.
cool, huh?
It's great. Yeah, I had an absolute blast with it. So anyway, highly recommend it to anyone who has not played it yet. So and I know Jeff and Kyle are having a good time with it too. All right, Dan, wrap us up. What are you watching and playing? I know you got a chance to play some things on a big old screen this week.
I keep every time that this is well, it's only been 2 times. I don't know why I say this like it's been 17 times, but like these 2 times that we've gone to one of these Airbnbs and they got like one of these like mini movie theaters, we should like figure out how to do this in our living room, right? Like just have the projector and everything. Like
Yeah.
it's like in my head, I'm like oh maybe if we move like we get a different kind of couch. But yeah, so my wife and I, her birthday was on the 18th, so we did a little birthday trip. We went up
All
to
right,
New
happy
Hampshire.
birthday.
Happy birthday, the Dapper wife, right? As
That's
everybody
right.
would call him.
Dapper wife. I like that. That's
Mrs.
good.
Dapper, Mrs. Dapper.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was a really nice home. Got the jacuzzi, all that fun stuff. It was actually pretty up the like a kind of like a mountainous area with you know other homes and stuff. So like when we woke up, because of the design of the house was almost like the main bedroom was like sort of like a loft. So you'd take the stairs when you walked in the house up, and it was like very open. So you'd wake up and like you basically just off in the distance you see the mountains just like out there, just like
nice.
it was really views. Yeah, it was just a really nice home, and yeah, it's got the mini movie theater downstairs. Actually, I would say the like setup of this, like the way it looked, was actually nicer than that one in New York. I think that screen was like slightly bigger, but the setup of like this room that they had in this one's just like it just like felt more cozy and just felt really nice. But yeah, like just played a bunch of things. Watched Bill Burr's new stand up, Drop Dead Years, on the big screen. Watch old
On
Billy
Hulu.
Burr on the big screen on Hulu. Yeah, this one was really solid. I forget. I think I mentioned on the last time I was on here that I had rewatched his last stand up, and I didn't hate it. It just felt like a lot of like the bits were kind of like sort of like reorganized, you know, bits that he's done before, basically.
Yeah.
This
It kind
one
of didn't
felt
feel like a finished set. It felt like a pretty good set that was close but not finished.
Is that the
If
Red
that
Rocks
makes any
one? Is
sense.
that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I liked it,
Yeah.
but I remember it just felt unfinished or something. I don't know. But I still love
Well,
it.
like,
I love Bill Burr. I feel like I
Yes.
still have a softer spot for me personally for his older sets. I don't know if he was just more fiery or was just newer to me. I don't know what
That's
it
the
was, but
half-life
there's
of a comedian, though, right? Like as they go along
so
and get
true.
married and have kids, like they just not that they get less funny. I just feel like some of their more crazier days are behind them.
and it's also
Well-
me, the person receiving it. Like they're not, his personality is, I know him so well from his no in quotes from his podcast and from his stand up specials and everything. I kind of know what to expect, and I'm like, give me more. Come on, give it to. Like, there's just a little bit of that where I'm. So it's with him, Nate Bargatze, who I love, but I've heard so many of his specials now. I still think he's really funny, but it doesn't hit the same way as when I first heard him. Or Brian Regan was the same way. One of my favorites.
Yeah,
Still, I think he's
I think
great.
with
But yeah.
I think with Bill, it's because it like was new then.
It was new.
But
You're
like
right.
for because I mean I've seen every Bill Burr stand up, and I think it has just been that he does again he leans very much into like shitting on this group and shitting on that group, and you know that's just what he does. That's kind of his thing. But like there's been like this kind of through line, at least from you know what I can remember, a lot of the time the two specific groups that he attacks quote unquote because he's doing jokes is women and fat people. Those are usually the two
True.
the two pinpoint things that he goes at. So I think it's like while he's doing it in a funny way, it just felt like, especially with that last stand-up special, it just kind of felt like things were just sort of like reorganized, retooled, but it like felt the same. This one, he's still shitting on people here and there, certain bits, but there definitely was more a better nuance with those jokes. But then he definitely leaned more into. He's definitely shared the most that he's ever shared about like his feelings and shit in this stand-up special, because like he's usually pretty kind of like keeps everything, you know, close to the chest, and in this one he definitely like he opens up the most I've ever seen him open up in a stand-up special. So it actually, yeah, and it definitely, I think it lent to some of his more recently with his stand-up specials, the last like 2 or 3. I would say the jokes were better because it just felt newer. It felt fresh, like he was saying different things that I hadn't really heard him say before, but in his Bill Burr way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I really.
So
enjoyed
I remember
it.
re-listening to the Red Rocks one and thinking the mushroom story wasn't as good the second time I heard it for whatever reason. I just like the first time I remember being like, oh, what a unique. I don't know. I liked it more the first time, so I'm right there with you, Dan. Like it kind of just didn't hit the same way. I still think all his stuff about WNBA is really funny. Maybe it could be funnier,
Sure.
but all his stuff about kind of like, we gave this to you. Like you're the one who let them down, not us, not us. It wasn't me.
Why aren't you showing up? Why aren't you?
Yeah. You know what? Name your top 5 WNBA players right now. Name them right now.
He's not wrong there. He's not wrong.
He's totally right. I think that's very funny. So like he still gets me, man. Like even on his worst specials or bits, he's still funnier than 99% of the comedians that are out there. So whatever.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, that was like the only like real thing that like we aside from like when we were eating something, like we were watching just some we're rewatching The Simpsons.
Oh, nice.
So watching that. But as far as things that I played, I played a little Fortnite, played a little Call of Duty, did some pew-pewing, of course. You got to do some pew-pewing on a big screen. Dude, it takes like some kind of like, you gotta like recalibrate a little bit because like it's like cool like but you're taking what you normally see, which is right in front of you, and you're stretching it out even more, so you
gotta move your head to see everything.
You gotta cover like more surface area to like be like, all right, shit, like there's somebody over there, I gotta like take the extra couple of seconds to look this way, but I already got shot. So Metal Hellsinger as well. I had to play Metal Hellsinger on there. So speaking of pew-pewing, that was pretty rad because there's also like really the surround sound was really solid. Like there was something shaking, rattling in the corner with certain moments. And I was like, oh shit, are we gonna like break something? Is something gonna shatter? Like it was really like
just means your subwoofer's working. That's all it means.
Yeah. That's all it means. Don't worry about the glass. Don't think about the glass that you heard.
You're being all right.
Yeah.
Did a little more because Fantasian is the main game that I'm working on right now, so I was playing some Fantasian on there. That was pretty fun.
Nice.
And then the demo that I mentioned, the Atelier Yumia, actually did. Tim, I don't know if you said the full title earlier.
I did not. I stopped it short.
Atelier Yumia, the Alchemist of Memories, and the Envisioned Land.
This is why I didn't read the whole thing. Everyone agrees with me now. So
you know what?
I said the Alchemist of Memories.
No.
Land, Kyle.
I've been railing on Yakuza. I'm like, Yakuza's got to be the worst video game of all time. Nope, that is. You just named
that's
it.
Worse.
That's
and hey, listen, 2 of my favorite games ever, the remaster, has a really dumb name. So we could end 1 and 2, HD Remaster, Gate Rune, and Dune and Unification Wars.
That's too much.
Do that.
It's too much. Doesn't flow.
Hey, those are 2 games though. This is 1 game with this super long time. Like,
it's
you're right. A little silly. But yeah, so I already talked about the demo, and then the last 2 things was Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. I downloaded the trial because I was like, I want to play something new on here. And that just seemed like a rad game to play on a massive screen, and it was fucking rad. It was so cool. And I only did like
I thought
the opening,
it, and I was right.
Yeah, basically, it was super rad. So I only really just played that like beginning mission where then like you wake up because something happens, and then you're like in a area and there's people walking around. But yeah, so cool. That game is super metal, dude. And I definitely see kind of like the Gears, kind of like Gears was influenced by that, right? I'm assuming.
No, it's the other way around. Gears created.
Depends on who you ask.
Okay.
So Cliffy B, yeah, Cliffy B obviously was beat up Warhammer kids at some point or something like that. So
yes.
I was gonna say he didn't play. He's too much of a bully.
He didn't play. He bullied them for sure. But
for sure.
I definitely like I definitely like the vibes of like this and like the way the characters like are acting in this series, because this is the first like Warhammer game I've ever actually
like
played.
There's not a funny bone in the body of Warhammer.
Yeah.
It's just like stone cold serious. Yeah.
super serial.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked great, sounded great. All the swarm of enemies coming on the screen was super rad.
Yeah.
That game's really cool.
Game.
So I do want to actually pick that up at some point and play it. And then I just played a little Final Fantasy VII. Of course, I played some Final Fantasy VII.
Remake?
Had to.
That was the last thing I played.
Original?
Yeah, OG, of course, OG.
Okay.
And then I had the OG music coming through the surround sound. It was just beautiful.
I love it.
I wept. I wept.
I was gonna say you openly wept for sure. You openly wept.
Openly for
Like
hours.
Just hours, yeah.
Just a ugly sob that we all need.
Yeah.
I put on the save because I've been trying to get that last goddamn trophy, the Barrett Date trophy, so I can get my I don't have the platinum for that game because I can't get that effing date.
Wow. Fake fan.
And I followed a guide. I followed a damn guide too, and it still gave me Tifa, which I'm not gonna, I mean, it's Tifa, so I'll go on a date with Tifa.
That's because the game knows it's tracking your eyes, and they see where you're looking for that.
Yeah.
So you need to
stop.
I did like
the.
One of the people who like made the visage of Tifa was like, there's a lot more going on. Like, oh, we know why she's a fan favorite. I go, I bet you guys do. Like,
yeah, don't play coy with me. Don't play coy.
Yeah. It was a very cute interview where he's like, we get it. And I'm like, yeah.
It doesn't include the word. It doesn't include the word personality. It's all I'm saying. And I like Tifa. I think she's got a great personality.
I think she's way well rounded in the remakes, but
in the remake and rebirth for sure, for sure.
Yeah, but it's definitely
that's good, man. I'm glad you had a good time. It sounds like you guys had a much needed and really enjoyable time away, which is awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
It was really relaxing. Yeah. The town, so we stayed at Conway, and then North Conway is like the main spot where there's like a long road with just all of the store restaurants and all that shit. It was actually better than the New York trip because the New York trip, that area just didn't have a lot of good restaurants, which was a bummer. But this one had
the food can make or break a vacation, right?
Oh yeah,
food can make or break.
90% of a vacation for me.
Yep.
I'm doing most of my research on where I'm eating than the cultural stuff at all. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely some solid food stuff going on for sure. So yeah, it was nice. Relaxing, good food. We brought back a lot of said food, a lot of treats. So
good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad, man. That's great, and that's where I'm not going to that same place, but I'll be getting away with the wife this weekend with my folks in town to celebrate our 20th anniversary, which was actually last November, but this was just the timing of when it worked out for them to come watch the kids for us. Sure. So yeah, we'll be getting away, going into Canyon City in Colorado to do a little
nice
hiking, a little sightseeing, also some interesting places to eat there. But also the Airbnb we're just going to get some food also and my wife's a really good cook. So we'll make our own food, and there's a hot tub there. So we'll do the hot tub and watch some shows, and it'll be good. It'll be a good time. So I'm looking forward to that. Playing on the Steam Deck. Yeah.
Don't get stranded really last time, Tim.
I will not get stranded. No, we're not driving anywhere too dicey and icy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because that was a horrifying situation. So.
It was. I still think about it sometimes and just get a little shiver. I hated that. I did not like that. So anyway, well, thank you guys for watching and listening. And by the time you're listening to this, all of us probably will have played a lot more Assassin's Creed Shadows, and we'll have more thoughts about it. But thanks for tuning in for this time. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.